theyeshiva.net.
So the Gemarah established a principle on the Vav Amud Beis that continues on the Zayin Amud Aleph, a vital principle in Pesachim, in the halachas of chametz and Pesach, that Bitul chametz could never be done after the time when the prohibition of chametz begins. Bitul must precede the time when chametz is prohibited. Practically, that means that once Erev Pesach midday comes, one cannot utilize the mechanism of Bitul chametz any longer. Now there's only one alternative left, which is biur chametz, the physical destruction, the physical elimination of the chametz from your home. And as a result of that, we do Bitul the night before, haboidek tzarech sheyevatel, when you could still do Bitul, because once chametz is usher, once you're not allowed to eat it and you're not allowed to benefit from it, you have to get rid of it, which is of course Erev Pesach after midday. Bitul will not work anymore. We know Midirabbanan, that's pushed back an hour. That means already from approximately 11 a.m. or whatever the right time is according to that particular year, but from the beginning of the 6th hour, not only from the beginning of the 7th hour, one cannot do Bitul. And as we explained and sourced it with the halacha that if you're Mekadesh an Isha with chametz, if you betroth a woman with chametz in the beginning of the 6th hour Erev Pesach, she is not married, it's considered as you have given her nothing, and she does not need a get, she is not Mekudesh. What we want to examine today is, what is the mechanism of Bitul, and what's the logic of it not working at a particular time. Okay. So let's go back, we go back to the basics, completely to the basics. If you take your Gemarah's Pesachim and take a look on Dav Daled Amud Aleph, please. Daled Amud Aleph in your Gemarah. I'm going to ask you to please take a look at a Rashi. The Rashi is close to the bottom of the page, the wide lines. The line that starts from the wide lines in Rashi, 1, 2, 3, 4. Go down 4 lines from the top of the wide lines in Rashi. The line starts, the mitzvah alei ramya. The Rashi is chayvas hadar, where the Gemara is distinguishing between mezuzah, who's obligated to put on a mezuzah, and who's obligated to do b'dikas chametz. And Rashi says, in the middle of the Rashi, I want to read one line with you. Aval hache b'dikas chametz d'Rabbanan. B'dikas chametz is a rabbinic obligation. The imishum ba'yira ba'al yimatzeh. If we only think about ba'yira ba'al yimatzeh not having chametz, ha'amar lekaman, the Gemara will say the sagale bebitul ba'alma. Bitul will be enough. Now here's Rashi's definition. What is Bitul? If he removes his mind from the chametz, umashvile ka'afra, and considers it like earth, like dust. Mashvile means you make it, you turn it in your mind into offer. Va'amra, and you say, kol chamir bebeisa adain, all the chametz in this house is chuli, is like offer, that's enough. It's the rabbis who required you to do bdika in addition to the bitul. Rashi gave us here a definition of bitul. He said 2 things. Mesiach daite b'nei, you take your mind off it, meaning you're mentally disengaged from it. And the second thing is you turn it into offer. He doesn't mean physical. It's a statement. It's an inner conviction. But in your mind, mashvile, it's considered ka'afra, like offer. And you say kol chamir, that is bitul. And min HaTorah, you will not transgress any prohibitions. Only the rabbis said, in addition to that, you have to do b'dika and you have to do bir. Which Gemarah is Rashi referring to here? As he says, l'kamon. The next Amud, turn to Dav Daled Amud Beis. Dav Daled Amud Beis, the Gemarah itself, the line starts, the b'dikas chametz b'dirabbanan hu. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Around 14 lines from the top. Kivan de b'dikas chametz b'dirabbanan hu. The midayraisa bebitul ba'al masagile. Min HaTorah bitul is enough. Heimnu rabbanim b'dirabbanan. So the rabbis believe certain people where they wouldn't usually believe them because it's only a rabbinic obligation. So here the Gemarah for the first time made a statement. Min HaTorah bitul is enough. Now that has to be backed up. How do they know this? The Torah says Erev Pesach, you should get rid of your chametz, tashbisu. The Torah says for 7 days you're not allowed to see chametz, you're not allowed to have chametz. I would say that means you're not allowed to have chametz in your house. The Gemarah says that's not true. Min ha-Torah bitul is enough. So we look in Rashi, and we have the very famous Rashi, Bitul ba'alma, on the left side in Rashi, but Bitul ba'alma, right? So Rashi, the ksiv tashbisu, because it says tashbisu v'loi ksiv tevaru, and it doesn't say tevaru. In the Pasuk in Parshas Boy that we have discussed many times, it says Ach b'yoyim harishon, on the first day, which we explained to be Erev Pesach. Tashbisu so'er mebatechem. Tashbisu, we translate, is you should eliminate, you should get rid of. Tashbisu, you should destroy. It actually says, it doesn't say tevaru. The proper word in Tanakh, the accurate term that's usually used in Tanakh for destruction, for elimination, for getting rid of something is biur. That's the word. Levayer. We have it in different cases. For example, when it comes to Avodah Zarah, or when it comes even in Parshas Mishpatim, when your animal eats something up, kiyaver, that's biur. Biur means to eliminate. Here the Pasuk uses a strange word, tashbisu, which actually comes from a word like Shabbos. Shabbos means to seize. We say Shabbos is to rest. It means to seize, not to do malacha, right? To seize. So Rashi says that the Pasuk uses the word tashbisu and not tevaru to teach me something. What does it teach me? Hashbasa the levi hashbasa. There's a way of eliminating chametz without eliminating chametz. There's a way of getting rid of chametz without physically getting rid of the chametz. What is it? It's hashbasa b'leiv. It's an internal form of obliteration. What does it mean, internal form of obliteration? The chametz is intact. Internally you obliterate it, meaning by you it's considered exterminated. Why? Because it's, as Rashi said before, Mesiach daitay minei. You're not interested in it. Your mind has no connection to it. Like a particle of dust in your house, like a grain of sand in your house. How much do you think about it? It has no value. Mashvele ka'afra, it's meaningless. It's there physically, it wasn't it's eliminated. But in your heart, it's mushbas. In your heart, it, so to speak, ceases. Let's put it this way. Its value ceases to be of any worth in your eyes. Your connection to it, the significance of it ceases. That's how Rashi explains the word tashbisu. And from this, the Chazal built a case that min ha-Torah, you don't have to physically get rid of the chametz. All you could do is tashbisu, which is bitul b'leiv. And they added a new mitzvah, which is bedika and biur. I don't only want to rely on bitul. Even if you did bitul, and biblically you're covered, we said, no, that's not enough. You have to, first of all, search the house in places that there may be chametz. You don't have to search in places where there's probably no chametz. You have to search in places where there may be chametz, even though there may not be chametz. And number two, of course, you have to get rid of all the chametz that you see and the chametz that you find during your bdika. Why did the Chachamim add that? The Gemarah doesn't say that clearly. The Gemarah doesn't say why did the Chacham did not like bdika and biur, what was missing with bitul, but obviously something was missing with bitul. They don't put a new heavy burden on the Jewish people that's useless. This is clearly Rashi's shitta. On this, Tosfos argued. And these are, again, this is a very, very important stuff because these are like let's call them the building blocks of the first perek of Pesachim. These are like the fundamentals. What does Tosfos say? On the right, Midar Reise Bitul Balma, Pirish Bekuntus, Midiksiv Tashbisu Veloiksiv Tevaru, Alma Hashbasa Belevi. He quotes Rashi, Vikasha le Rabbeinu Yitzchak. The high Hashbasa Havarihi Veloi Bitul. It's not true. I have proof that Tashbisu means destroying, not Bitul. How do I know? He brings a proof. The Tanya B'Shmaiti Rabbi Akiva Eimer Ein Sarach Harayim Tashbisu Motzinu Lavarit Sheyav Malach. On Daf Hey, Rabbi Akiva's proof that B'Yoyim HaRishon doesn't mean Pesach, it means Erev Pesach. It's because you're not allowed to make a fire on Pesach. Hav'ar is an Av Malacha. It's a Malachi. You're not allowed to do it on Yom Tov, Rabbi Akiva holds. And therefore, you're not allowed to burn your chametz on Yom Tov. How could Tashbisu mean Pesach? What do we see from this? That Tashbisu means burning. V'oid, I have another proof. The Tashbisu Amrinan L'Kamon Me'ach Chilik Shu Mishei Shoyos Olamayla. The Gemara says later, when is the time of Tashbisu? Erev Pesach, midday. The word ach, by Yom HaRishon, means it's not the whole day Tashbisu. Chilek, you split the day in half. Part of Yom HaRishon Tashbisu. Part of Yom HaRishon, you don't have Tashbisu. When we want to divide a day into two parts, what's the logical way of doing it? 50-50, half and half. Till 12 o'clock p.m., no tashbisu. From 12 o'clock, yes, tashbisu. That's what the Gemarah explains on Daf Hey. Ach b'yom harishon means chilek, split the day into two. Only 12 midday starts tashbisu. I don't have to get rid of my chametz 6 o'clock in the morning, Erev Pesach. I have to get rid of my chametz 12 o'clock p.m. Frek Toisvis, v'acher yisur loy mahani bitul. And once chametz is asur, the Gemarah is going to explain on Daf Vav, which we have just finished learning, bitul doesn't help. So how could Rashi tell me that tashbisu means bitul when the time of tashbisu is Erev Pesach at 12 o'clock p.m. and then you can't do bitul anymore? So this is a big problem. So you have to say tashbisu means biur. That you could do 12 o'clock p.m. But bitul you have to do 10 o'clock a.m., 9 o'clock a.m., 7 o'clock a.m. Big question on Rashi. Tashbisu is not bitul. Tashbisu means, obviously, the physical biur. And therefore, the Gemarah has to be understood differently. The reason the Gemarah says that Minatayra Bitul is enough is not because it says Tashbisu. Tashbisu means to physically destroy the chametz. The concept is when you're Mavatal chametz, it becomes ownerless. It leaves your authority, your rulership, your domain, maybe not physically, but legally it's not yours, it's hefker. Umutar midekamrinan avalatoroya shalachedim v'shal gavoya. The Gemara is going to explain on Daf Hey that the pasuk says lo yera lecha sa'ar b'chol gvulcha. What does lo yera lecha? You shouldn't. Sa'ar chametz should not be seen to you. What does it mean not be seen to you? So the Gemara is going to explain not be seen to you means not be seen as yours. If it's yours, it can't be seen. You could see in your house other chametz, for example, Gentile chametz, or hektish chametz, or in this case, hefker chametz. That's what bitul is. You don't need a pasuk tashbisu. Tashbisu doesn't mean bitul like Rashi. Tashbisu means biur. So how do you know bitul works? Because bitul is hefker. You make the chametz ownerless. That's what bitul is. If the chametz doesn't belong to me anymore, because I don't want it to belong to me. I said this doesn't belong to me. I have rights to decide what belongs to me, what doesn't belong to me. I have the right to say chametz does not belong to me. That's what bitul is. Automatically, if it doesn't belong to me, even if it's in my house, it's in my pantry, it's in my refrigerator, it's in my closet, it's on my table, I do not transgress that chametz. Why? It's not my chametz. It's not my chametz anymore. I'm allowed to have not my chametz in my house on Pesach. Yes, the rabbi said get rid of it, but we're not talking now the rabbis. We're talking midayraisa. Midayraisa hefker is enough. Frek toisves v'hadam rinim b'nedarim hefker b'fnei shloisha. We have in the darim that you have to do it in front of 3. Nobody ever says bitul chametz in front of 3. There should have been a halacha bitul in front of 3. Midayraisa ain't sorry. Remember, this bitul is a biblical idea. Minatayra, hefker doesn't have to be in front of 3. Even if I declare something hefker, it's hefker, and therefore, since we're talking about a biblical obligation of bitul, so the biblical obligation of bitul does not require 3, and the moment you say my chametz is batel, meaning it's ownerless, it's hefker, we immediately say it's mutter to have, and actually, biblically, that's fine. You can make your chametz hefker, leave it in your house a whole Pesach, as long as it's not yours, as long as you did bitul. Completely different explanation. So Rashi says you learn it from the word tashbisu, right? Rashi says you learn it from the word tashbisu. Tosfos says, no, tashbisu doesn't mean that. Tosfos says you learn it from the fact that it says lo yera lecha, which means you're allowed to have chametz that is not yours, and bitul goes into the genre, to the concept, to the general idea of hefker, which of course doesn't only apply to chametz, applies to anything in the world, which you make hefker, and somebody else is allowed to get. For example, when we find a metzia, when we find something in the street, right, there are certain Gemarah Baba Metzia and Eila Metzias, there's certain ways in which you're allowed to take it, certain ways in which you're not allowed to just take it and keep it, right? For example, if there's no simonim, if there's no sign, and there's no identifying way in which the person could claim it, and it was a domain that is not his, obviously his house or a private domain. So what do we say? We say this is basically ownerless. He despaired of it. He doesn't think he's ever going to get it. This is called that. Hefker is a general theme in halacha, and this falls into that category. Bitul is hefker. Yeah.
I'm just wondering though, it's a little bit strange because it says BC, it means destroy.
Yeah.
It's like the Torah says to give maser,
Yeah.
The notion with the right a little outside it. It's a way you avoid the Torah. It's not like with the right, this is what the Torah wants. The Torah wants you to do tashbisi, to destroy it. You have a way how you can...
Excellent question. According to Rashi, it's part of tashbisu. According to Tosfos, you're avoiding the mitzvah. You're right. If you just like if your house goes gluten-free and there's no chametz allowed into your house, forget bitul or beer, right? If you say there's no chametz coming into my house, we're allergic to chametz, you're also avoiding the mitzvah of tashbisu. You're right, because when Pesach comes, there's not going to be any chametz to destroy. That's true. If you're mavatal chametz a few hours before Pesach, you will mafkir the whole chametz. There's no mitzvah of tashbisu. You know why? The mitzvah of tashbisu is if you have chametz. If you don't have chametz, there's no mitzvah of tashbisu. I have no mitzvah to take hektish's chametz and destroy it. I have no mitzvah to take a non-Jew's chametz in my house, right? You can ask a question. Why don't we destroy the chametz in our house that's sold to a guy? You have a mitzvah tashbisu. The answer is, why don't you go to the refrigerator that's taped up and go burn the chametz? It's chametz in your house. The answer is, you don't have a mitzvah of tashbisu on that chametz. That chametz that belongs to a non-Jew, there's no mitzvah of tashbisu, there's no mitzvah by Rabbi Monsey. The chametz that you're mavatal is like goyish chametz. You're right. And you avoided the mitzvah.
It's like telling me, the rice you don't have to give master. You don't have to give master because...
No, if you're mafker your fields, you don't have to give meiser. You're giving a good example. You're saying it's like being mafker your field, you don't have to give meiser. If you're mafker all your farms and all your fields and all your orchards, you don't, but you have to pay a price. Everybody can come take everything. You're right. Hefker is pater for meisers. You're right. That's why we learned sufe te'enim, right? The leftover grapes and figs that are not ripe and they're not good, they're decomposed. If you're not makbid on them, yeah. So there's no gezel, anybody could take it, and nobody has to give meiser from it. Why? Because it's hefker. There's no din of meiser. You're taka right. Are you mekayim the mitzvah of meiser? You're not. But you weren't over on a mitzvah. You understand what I'm saying? If I don't buy dalit kanfas, if I don't buy a garment of 4 corners, I'm not makayim mitzvah tzitzis, but I'm pater from tzitzis. I'm not doing anything wrong. I mean, if I want to do the mitzvah of tzitzis, I should buy a garment of 4 corners and put on tzitzis, but that's midas chasidus. I mean, it's a wonderful thing to do. It's our minig. We do it. Today, most Jews do it, but there's no chiyuv to buy a garment of 4 corners. I don't have to buy a house in order to put on a mezuzah. Right? If I want to live in hotels my whole life, I mean, Papa has dough, PhD Papa has dough, and you want to live in hotels all your life. Gesund to hate. There's no mitzvah to buy a house and have to put on a mezuzah. If you have a house, you have to put on a mezuzah. You understand what I'm saying?
They're really avoiding. It doesn't exist.
That's what I mean. You're not mavatal. You're not avoiding the mitzvah. It doesn't exist in this case. It doesn't exist. Your chametz is hefker. According to Rashi, you're taka mekayim tashbisu through bitul. You're mekayim a mitzvah sasi tashbisu. According to Tosfos, you're not. Tashbisu is if you destroy the chametz. If you're mafker the chametz, it was never yours. When Pesach came in, it was not your chametz. It's like a non-Jew. Put chametz into your house a whole year and it's there. It becomes a question if bitul is a mitzvah sasi min Torah or not, yeah?
According to Tosfos, isn't the bitul what you said for Baba Mitzia?
Yes. Yes.
Is there a different din in that hefker, Mashaking, the hefker that Tosfos is talking about? For example, the hefker in Egypt, you can find something anywhere. You get there's a din that you could be koneh by seeing. Re'ilon and koneh, you could.
Yeah, I'm not comparing it. You're right.
So it's not the time of hefker.
Yes. Exactly.
So it's not this act. According to Rashi, it's act of mivato, or according to Tosfos, act of...
According to Tosfos, it's an act of hefker, yeah. Now the tzlach, the Tzion L'Nefesh Chaya, which is the commentary on Pesachim by the Noida B'Yehuda, Rabbi Yecheskel Landau, the Rav of Prague, known as tzlach, asks a question. His question is, according to Rashi, why do you need tashbisu? Doesn't it say Lo Yeira Lecha? Why do you need a pasuk tashbisu according to Rashi? Or the other way around, actually, better question. Tashbisu, you need to get rid of the chametz. Why did it say lo yirah lecha? Already from tashbisu, we know that bitul is an option. So why did it say lo yirah lecha? We already have a concept of tashbisu. Tashbisu says that bitul is an option. That's the tzlach's big question. Gewaldige question. Why does it have to say lo yirah lecha? According to Tosfos, that's the source of Bitul. But according to Rashi, we already have an independent source of Bitul, which is tashbisu, right? But the truth is that when we think about it, the definition of Bitul, according to Rashi and according to Tosfos, is not the same definition of Bitul. Rashi doesn't hold that Bitul is about Hefker. Rashi doesn't mention the word Hefker. On the Avdalad Amid Aleph, Rashi doesn't mention the word Hefker. Here, Rashi doesn't mention the word Hefker. Rashi actually has another definition of Bitul, a completely different definition. And maybe the closest to it is described when we look at the Rambam's view of Bitul, and that's what I want you to open up in your copies here. These source sheets will be posted on the yeshiva.net. Take a look at your copies. We're looking at the Rambam. Here, take a look at the page, which one you're looking on, because there's a few pages here. Rambam's Manim, Hilchas Chametz Matzah, Perek Beis. Okay? Now let's take a look at the Rambam. Mitzvahs asay min ha-Torah lahashbis ha-chametz koydem zman yisur achilasoi. There's a biblical mitzvah to get rid of, to be mashbis chametz before the time when it's forbidden to eat. Shenemar bayoyim harishon tashbisu sarme bateichem u'mipi hashmua lamdu sharishin zehu yoyim arba asar. We have a tradition in Torah Shabbal Peh that Rishon here means day 14. Raya ledavar zeh mimashakasav b'Torah leisishchat al chametz dam zivchi keloymar leisishchat ha-Pesach v'adayin ha-chametz kaya. Proof: the Torah says, don't slaughter the Karban Pesach when you have chametz. Ushchitas ha-Pesach u'yoyim arba asa achi chatzos. Time of slaughtering the Karban Pesach is midday, after midday of arba asar. From then, you're not allowed to have chametz. Asks the Rambam, umahi hashbasa zu amura b'Torah. What is hashbasa? It says tashbisu. I said lahashbis. What is it? Sagt the Rambam, sheyevatloi beliboy. Obliterated in your heart. Thank you. What is that supposed to mean? Magic? Says the Rambam, v'yachshoiv oisoi ka'afar. You should think of it. You should consider it like afar, like dust. V'yasim beliboy. Interesting words. Put into your heart she'ein b'rishusay chametz klal. That in my domain I have absolutely no chametz. What do you mean? I have a pantry filled with bagels. I have a freezer filled with pizza. I have a cabinet filled with mashke. No. I have no chametz in my house. What about all this? It looks like chametz. It's afar. It's afar. Not physically afar. In my mind it's afar. But what does this mean? Says the Rambam, V'shekol chametz shebirishusay hareyu ka'afar. All the chametz in my domain, which does exist, is like afar. So therefore I think in my house there's no chametz. Because where there's no chametz, there's no chametz. And where there is chametz, what is it? It's like afar. What does this mean? Ukadavar she'ein bo tzarech klal. Practically, it means something that has absolutely no need for me. I have no interest in it. There's nothing in this for me. It's absolutely valueless. Regularly throughout the year, a bagel is valuable. It's breakfast, it's lunch, it's dinner. I can give it to my child. I can give it to somebody else. I can give it to a friend. This is ein bo tzarech. Mamish like a piece of dust in your house. You look at it and what is it? I mean, you would rather it's not here. It's here. It's not here. It means nothing. Ein bo tzarech. There's no need for me. There's no need. I don't care if you take it, you don't take it. It's here. It's not here. It disappears. It doesn't. It's mamish like a particle of dust.
So why do you still keep it in your house?
Huh?
Why do you still keep it in your house?
The offer?
Yeah.
Because your cleaning lady doesn't do a good job. That's why. Okay. You keep it in your house. That's the point. The point is you don't need it. You don't want it. There's no value to it. Why it's there? It's there. In this case, the reason it's there is because it was there a whole year. Gimel, u'medivrei seifrim, 1 second, u'medivrei seifrim, l'chapes achar hachametz b'machboyes u'b'chayrim, v'livdek u'leitziyim ekol gvula. It's the rabbis who said, search for chametz even in hiding places and holes, look for it and get it out. A second thing is this should be the search and the elimination should start at night. 2 things the rabbis obligated. Number 1, you got to physically search for chametz everywhere and get rid of it. And number 2, they made the time, which is the night before Pesach, not Erev Pesach before Chatzos, but you do it the night before, as the Gemarah explains. Here we see the Rambam doesn't even use the word hefker. He doesn't use the word hefker. So the tzlachs, if Rashi agrees, and it seems like Rashi agrees because Rashi says also, Mesiach Daite, Mashve Ka'afra, which are the two terms the Rambam also uses, that Yachshav Oise Ka'afar, right? In his das, it's like Afar, and the Kedover She'em Boi Tzarech Klal. If that's the case, the tzlach's question is not a question because Lo Yirah Lecha is not superfluous. Bitul and Hefker are two completely different ideas. Tzlach says, why does it have to say Lo Yirah Lecha? And he says Tashbisu. Tashbisu teaches me Bitul. Rashi doesn't hold Bitul as Hefker. Rashi holds Bitul as its own unique creature. What is Bitul? Bitul is a concept that exists exclusively by chametz. Hefker is a concept that exists everywhere. You make something ownerless. The Rambam doesn't say you make the chametz ownerless. On the contrary, ownerless means I don't own it. You can own it. Here, it's worthless. It's meaningless. I mean, it's also hefker, but that's not the definition. So of course you learn that from Tashbisu. There's a special halacha of Tashbisu that Bitul b'levi hachbasa. Lo yirah lecha teaches me a new halacha, and that is somebody else's chametz, a goyish chametz, which is not batul. It's very valuable. The guy thinks it's very valuable. It's expensive. I can have it in my house. It's two separate dinim. In other words, a separate din of Bitul. That's what the Rambam teaches us, and that's how he learns Tashbisu also. Tashbisu is this hachbasa. And it's a mitzvah to do it before the Zman Isser Achilasai. Of course it has to be before the Zman, because if it's Bitul, it has to be before the Zman. So it seems like that the Rambam and Rashi, at least general ways, there may be some subtle differences, but it seems like that this is a new concept of what Bitul is. Bitul has to do with perspective. Right, before the Zman. In other words, I develop in me some type of feeling of disassociation. I have no interest in it. I'm interested in the pieces of chametz in my house on the same level that I'm interested in the grains of sand or particles of dust in my house. As we would say in Yiddish, segarnished mit garnished. It's null, worthless, ayin v'evus. I couldn't care less in the slightest about the chametz, and that's why I don't transgress this chametz. And that's a halacha you learn out from Tashbisu. Tashbisu means that even eliminating the chametz in my heart, meaning I mentally disengage from the chametz, I disassociate myself from the chametz, that itself suffices to save me from the Isser of Bal Yirah, and it's the Kiyah Mitzvahs Tashbisu. It's like offer in my house. Gewaldige chiddush that we learn from the word tashbisu. There may be a big difference between Rashi and Rambam. According to Rashi, tashbisu may not mean only Bitul. Rashi may believe that tashbisu is both, which would answer the first question of Taisus Rabbi Akiva. Rashi may hold tashbisu is both. The Rambam clearly says hashbasa is Maya hashbasa zu amura b'Torah is Bitul. Take a look now at the language of the Ramban. Back to your copies. This is the first page, this page in your copies. The second paragraph, we're going to read the Ramban. This is the Ramban, Rabbeinu Moshe ben Nachman, 13th century Spain, Barcelona, in his Chidushim on Pesachim, commentary on Pesachim. It's actually the first Ramban on Pesachim. Let's read the Ramban. Kach ani yomer. This is what I say. Habitul moyil lohitziyoi miteres chametz ulachshivoi ka'ofor she'enoi roi lachil. The Ramban says, what does Bitul do? Listen to his words. It takes it out from the Torah of chametz, and it's considered like offer, which is not edible. That's what Bitul does. That's what Bitul does. What does Bitul do? It takes it out from Torah's chametz and turns it into offer. And the Ramban explains, how does this work? V'heter zeh midivrei Rabbi Yishmael hu the Amar shnei dvarim einem b'rishusa shalad. The Ramban now goes the next step. What's the mechanism? The mechanism is fascinating. Based on what in our Gemarah it's Rabbi Lazar, two things are not in your domain, but the Torah holds you liable. Yeah, bar b'rishusa rabim and chametz on Pesach. Really, it's not yours. Why is it not yours? Because once Pesach comes, Hashem took it away from me. He says, Rabbi Yid, sorry, You're a Jew. I'm the creator of the world. This is not yours. What do we mean it's not yours? It's nothing. It's just for you to use chametz on Pesach, it's like taking somebody else's property. You're not allowed to eat it. You're not allowed to benefit from it. You're not allowed to give it. You're not allowed to feed it to an animal. You're not allowed to give it to a Gentile. You're not allowed to give it to a neighbor. Nothing. No achila, no ano. You're not allowed to even have it in your house. So even if you physically have it in your house, your authority was taken away from it. Biblically speaking, the Torah takes it away. So if it's not yours, why are you over on it? You shouldn't be over on it. The answer is, the fact that the Torah tells you you're not allowed to have chametz 7 days, even though, why should the Torah tell it to me? Even if I have chametz, I don't have chametz because it's not mine. Means that the Torah only considers it mine for liability. That's the chiddush of chametz, right? Says the Ramban, listen to his words. Loimar. The key when the Torah since Torah doesn't want it should be in his rishus. Something that you're not allowed to have on is not money. There's no equity in it. You don't have stocks. It's not a stock. You can't do anything with it. There's no rights. It's not worth even $1. Something that I can't sell. It's worthless. You shouldn't be over on this chametz. It's not yours. Ella, the Torah makes it as though it's in your domain. And it allows you to transgress 2 prohibitions by your own, by your Monsey. Why? Even though it's not yours, really. But you don't agree. If you don't do anything before Pesach, if you're a Jew who doesn't care about Torah, you say, no, I want this. My mind is on it. Lefichach. Zeh. Words of the Ramban. What is Bitul? Bitul means you agree with God. Really, it's not yours. God does Bitul. You don't have to do Bitul. Hashem does Bitul. He took it away from you. There's only one problem. You got to agree with him. So if you agree with him, so the Torah now doesn't treat it like it's in your rishus, because really it's not in your rishus. What makes it in your rishus is that you want it. That's a Jew who doesn't do bittul. But a Jew who does bittul, what does he say? He says, I'm not interested. I'm not interested in it like the offer. You're not interested in it. So that's it. So it's over. It's gone. You agreed with Hashem. You agreed. His schema daite l'das Torah. It may be that Rashi is right. We learned this from Tashbisu. The Hachi Kamar Rachmana. Tashbisu oisay mesa'or v'lo yira sa'or ela shehei bayinecha kesaruf v'teiroya oisay ka'afar v'efer v'lo tehiroitze b'kiyumay middle ksiv tevaru oy tisrufu shrei b'shari surim bi'uron ksiv behen. He says, this may be, you've learned Tashbisu. What's Tashbisu? It says Tashbisu. It says Lo Yira Sa'or. So the Ramban is teaching here, Gevaldik Atach Lo Yira Sa'or means it shouldn't seem to you as Sa'or. It should seem to you as though it's burnt. It's already, imagine it was burnt already. Imagine, that's what you look at it and you don't see it as Sa'or. Lo Yira L'cha Sa'or doesn't only mean you shouldn't see it, it means it shouldn't be seen by you as Sa'or. That's enough, and that's what you learn from Tashbisu. Tashbisu Oisam is Sa'or doesn't mean physically. Doesn't mean physically you get rid of the Sa'or. Tashbisu Oisam is Sa'or means you don't see it as Sa'or. And that's why it doesn't say Tevaru. Mikol Makoim Bitul Kishmoi Sheyevatloi Beliba Meteras Chametz Ve'enei Roitze Mekiyumai Ve'kachu Mashmos Hashbasa B'chol Makom. That's what Hashbasa means in every place. It's the concept of Bitul in your heart. You're mevatel it from Teras Chametz. Doesn't have the significance of Chametz, meaning you're not interested in its existence. And he brings when it says V'loi Sashbis Melach. You shouldn't take away salt from your carbon. It means you should have salt. You're not allowed to eliminate salt from carbonis. Every carbon had to have salt. If it would be tashbis, it would mean you would eliminate it. It would cease. It wouldn't be here. What about our French rabbis? Bali HaTosfos are called the French rabbis, the French sages, because they come from the house of Rashi. These were the grandchildren of Rashi. Rashi, of course, lived in France, and his yeshiva was in France, in a city called Troy. So they're called Rabbi Seinu HaTzarfatim. our sages from France. Tosfos asked the question, if Tashbisu means Bitul, how can you do it 12 o'clock p.m.? It's after the Zman HaIsur. Eina kusha. The Chiyamrit nami taviru echtiva levayrach echatzois, v'lei b'shaz biuri kvar over olav. Same questions on Tosfos. How are you allowed to destroy it after Chatzois? After Chatzois, you're not allowed to have it anymore? The Ramban says. Same question. Tashbisu means you should destroy it in a way that by Chatzos it should be already gone or bottled. Tashbisu is not a pa'ula that you do by Chatzos. Tashbisu is the activity you do for the result of Tashbisu. The result of Tashbisu should be by Chatzos. It should be mushbas by Chatzos. V'shuv motzasi b'sifri. The Sifri says, this comes from the Tanoim, lo yirah l'chasar, royata la'acherim, lo yirah l'chasar, batal b'libcha. The Sifri learns Bitul from Lo Yirah Lecha. V'lamadati mimena she'eina Bitul nidur shana malashon tashbisu ele mimiyot lechasa oir. Here the Ramban says from the Sifri, I see that Bitul is actually learned not from tashbisu, but from Lo Yirah Lecha. Why? The kivan shenisyayish mimena mepnei yisuroi umoitzo medaitoi bechlal meklal mamen ve'eina be'einav kisar shaloi ala kafir she'eina shava klum ve'ein be'din mamen klal yotze yedei chivasa. Same concept. Once you despair it for it, you despair, you're yayish because it's forbidden. You don't see it as your money anymore because there's nothing you can do. So it's like you're mayayish, like you lose something. It's in your house, but imagine you lost something. The beach sweeps it away. You give up hope. You don't say, oh, this is part of my assets. This is part of my nechasim. You're completely mayayish. By you, it's not mammon anymore. It's not like your chametz. It's like your offer. It's worthless. It's not even worth a penny. And that's good. Mashal Aveda Kevin Sheyisayishim and Abaliba Yotzim Rishusay Avchametz Bismanoi Mamoin Avodu Mibailo Yotzim Rishusay Biyush. He killed present mamish to an Aveda, the beach, the ocean, the tide sweeps it away, or you get lost, it gets completely lost somewhere at a game in Madison Square Garden. There's no hope. It's not a little base medrash or a little shtiebel, and it's lost. You don't add this to your portfolio. These are not assets. Chametz in your house could be an expensive bottle. By you, it's offer. It's eino shava klum, and that makes it not lecha. It's not yours anymore. There's yiyush. So he agrees with the principle of Bitul, but he says at the end, first he thought it was from Tashbisu, but he has a Sifri which says clearly that it's lo yirah lecha batel belibcha. And to quote Chidushei Talmud Harashba, lefi Rabbeinu hagadol Bitul hu midin mius. According to my Rebbe, Bitul is the definition of mius. It's disgusting. It's repulsive. It's reprehensible. It's, as children would say, ichi. It's ichi. Bitul medin mius. That's not hefker. Hefker is not din mius. Hefker means it's ownerless. Not mius, fakert. Shmita, you make your field ownerless. It's not mius. It gives an opportunity for everybody to eat it. It's not disgusting. Bitul is medin mius. Basically, mam isay be'ena. For me, it's garnished. It's worthless.
Didn't you see somewhere that you can go back on the Bitul?
Perhaps. But this is how these Rishonim teach it. Take a look now. On top of the page, the Ran, Rabbeinu Nissim. Rabbeinu Nissim says Bitul. We learned the first Ran in Pesachim, the big Ran. Bitul midin hefkerhu. Va'afal gav the hefker kai gav nolei mahani. Even though normally hefker wouldn't help, as the Ran explains at length, you can't do hefker in your heart. Hefker has to be with words. And according to Rabbi Yossi, hefker is not hefker if it doesn't come to the house of the person who acquires it. And we learned hefker has to be in front of three. There's so many different conditions in hefker. And hefker, if you say something is like offer, it's not hefker. So l'chayda, how could you say Bitul is matam hefker? And for the Ran, chametz shiny. L'fi she'enoi b'reshusay shel adam. It's really not yours. The Torah makes it as though it's yours. By revealing your opinion, Gilui das, that you're not interested in having rights, it's enough. Regular hefker, you have to make it hefker. That has a lot of conditions. How do you make something hefker? Hey, you don't have to make it hefker. It is hefker. The Torah made it hefker. You don't have to make it hefker. All you have to do is agree. It's already hefker. The Torah treats it as though it's not hefker for your liability. All you have to do is be megala das. The moment you reveal your mindset that I'm happy I'm happy with what the Torah says that it's hefker, as the Ramban put it. He puts it a little differently. The moment I reveal my das, I'm not interested in any right. I'm not interested in any right. I don't want any rights in this. I don't care for it. Sagi, it's enough. It doesn't fall into the regular category of hefker. I don't care. I don't need to make it hefker. The Hashem made it hefker. The only thing it's not hefker is in terms of my liability. The moment I say I'm not interested, it assumes its natural, true state on its own, which is hefker.
So the liability cuts off.
So the liability is gone.
But it could reassert itself. If you find chametz, for example, then you have a din on you of renewed liability, if you want to call it that. It goes off once you agree, right? You find it. You went through the whole sugya. What happens if?
Well, if you did Bitul, you're good, but you may not. But then you still have to do. If you didn't do Bitul, yeah.
Liability for what you did drops out of your agreement.
Right. Exactly.
What's known and
Yeah.
unknown, right?
Yeah.
But it could reassert itself at a different point.
Yeah. Yes. So what do we have in nighttime? Tosfos said it's hefker, regular hefker. You just made it hefker. I'm in a Torah. You need 3. You need 3. That's only midrabanan, not minatayr. Yeah. The Ran also says it's hefker, but the Ran explains how the hefker works. It's not a regular hefker. Why? Because you don't have to make it hefker. The Rebbeinu Shalom made it hefker. All you have to do is reveal your das that you don't want to have any rights. Yeah. Rashi learned it's not hefker. It becomes offer. As the Ramban says, it's not called oichel. It's called offer. Chidush Talmud Rashba said it's miyas. The Chiddush of Tashbisu is?
Ran and Rashi can go together.
Well, Ran says it's a gather of hefker. And the Ran says you learn it from Lo Yirah Lecha. But you don't need the regular dinim of hefker. Because regularly you have to make it hefker. You don't have to make it hefker. You have to agree with God that it's hefker. Yeah. Rashi holds it's a gather of Bitul, it becomes offer. Mashvele Kafra. How does that work? You learn it from Tashbisu. What's the mechanism? The Ramban says similarly. His schema daiti l'das ha'Torah, and at the end he says it's also from Lo Yirah Lecha. That basically you're meyayish from it. It's like Yisuri Hana. It's any moment. That's how the Ramban learns it. Take a look now. Shulchan Aruch Harav, Hilchas Pesach Siman Taf Lamed Daled, this page. The middle of Siv Zayin, the right column, Va'afal Pi. Okay? He's describing what Bitul is. What is Bitul? That you declare that the chametz is like Afar. Here he's paraphrasing the Ran with a little explanation and definition as his style is. Va'afal pi shemi shenoitzel lahafker nechasav siman taf lamed dalet siv zayin shulchan aruch harav. Va'afal pi shemi shenoitzel lahafker nechasav amar nechasay kafir ein ze klum. If somebody wants to make his assets ownerless and he says it's like Afar, it's worthless. If you say my watch is like Afar, my jacket is like Afar, my tie is like Afar, and you come and take it, you're not allowed to. It's not hefker. Doesn't mean it's hefker. So how does it work? Mikol makoim kivan shezach chametz b'shar shever alav b'yira ein shaloi klal. Since this chametz, when he's over on Bal Yirah, is not his. Ein shaloi klal. It's not his. Ve'ein lo shum chelik u'schus boy. He has no part in it, no rights in it. What does it mean something is yours if you have no rights? If you have no rights, it's not yours. What makes it yours? You have no rights. Yeah? It was relinquished from you. It's Eino Shaloi Klal, it's not mine. Mamish not mine, this chametz. There's nothing I can do with it. I have no shaykhs to it. I can't do anything with it. Nothing. It's mamish like something that's not mine. Even though it's physically in my house and it was mine. Ella, just the Torah treats it as though it's yours. And here he adds words. The Torah says your name is still called on it. Your name is still associated with this chametz. That's the definition. It still has your name on it. It still has your name on it, yeah? It was completely taken away from you. But Nikra Shmoyalov, your name is associated with it. So you don't have to use the terminology of hefker. When you remove your mind from it, and you mevatel it in your heart, and you treat it like offer in your mind, that is enough to extricate your name from it, that it's not called yours. Meaning, it's not yours. It's called yours. What makes it called yours? It's not yours. It just has, it's called that, it's as though it's yours. Nikra Shmoyalov. It's Nikra Shmoyalov. Why is it called yours? Well, it was always yours, and it's in the house. That's as long as you're interested in it. You're interested makes us call it yours, even though it's not yours. God says it's not yours, but you think it's yours. That's what makes it yours. If you yourself say, it's not mine, it's worthless. It's worthless. Take it, don't take it, like offer. You relinquished your relationship with it. I don't want it to be cool. Well, I didn't ask you, I'm not interested. You agreed. That's enough. Nonetheless, it's good to include the word hefker in Bitul, even though you don't have to. Really, you could just say ka'afadara. But lepoyel, what do we say in Bitul? Kol chamir v'chamiyah, libotel v'lahave, hefker kavratara. You don't have to. So it's a concept of hefker, like the Ran explained. How does it work? It doesn't have to work like the regular hefker. You could do it in your heart. You could say the word afar. You don't have all the limitations. Why? Because it's already hefker. It's ownerless. The only thing we need is you should agree with it. A regular situation, a regular item that I have to make hefker. That's a serious thing. You have to relinquish ownership. You can't say afar. It's afar. That doesn't relinquish ownership. It means you think it's afar. Chaim, I'm not allowed to steal it. I'm not allowed to steal your
It's interesting why the Rabbi uses the language of shmol. You would say it's your desire. You wanted it. So it's your desire, you take away your desire.
Nikra Shmoyalov. His name is associated with it. Nikra Shmoyalov, yeah.
Because the shmo is the essence of the person, and it's like
Now here's an interesting thing. When do you do the Bitul? You do the Bitul at night. At that time, the chametz is yours. When we do Bitul, that's what we spoke. The chametz is mine, right? So when I do Bitul, and I say it's hefke kafra da'ara, right? Lebata will have hefke kafra da'ara. At this point, this just doesn't work. At this point, it's still my chametz. I can eat it. This chametz that I say is batel the night, or erev Pesach in the morning. Yeah, this whole chametz is batel. This chametz actually right now, I'm saying it's hefker, right? And I'm using this terminology, but this whole thing can't work yet because God didn't take it away from me yet. It's only 9 o'clock in the morning. I have full rights in it. But the pshat is, the moment that it's going to become asr, the moment, 12 o'clock, when I'm going to start being over, yeah? Or Pesach night, when I'm going to start being over on Bayirah Bal Yimotzeh, right? The question is, does the Torah hold this chametz to be mine? Right? So to speak. So you look at this chametz, what's my relationship with this chametz? Last night I said, I'm not interested. So that's when it falls into place. The Bitul, the mechanism of Bitul falls into place when the Isser starts. Because before that, it's not Hefker yet, because it can't be, because Hashem didn't take it away from me. When the Isser Bayirah starts, or the Isser Hana starts, and the Chametz is taken away from me, right? So now, retroactively, because I did Bitul last night, so automatically that Chametz is now considered gone, and it's not considered mine anymore.
You're agreeing for later on.
Right, because you never do Bitul when it happens. You understand, huh?
Bitul a week before, a month before.
Yeah.
The next Pesach when you're about.
Yeah, you could do Bitul earlier. Yeah, you could do Bitul earlier. Yeah. L'chayri, you could do Bitul earlier.
How would that affect the sale of the chametz?
But you can't do Bitul on the chametz you're going to eat, because that's a lie.
Same. It's going to be for that.
Exactly. That's why we don't do Bitul on the chametz that we put away to eat in the morning, because that would be a lie. Bitul is a serious thing. It's like offer. You have to mean it. But when is that going to fall into play legally? When is it going to take root? right? When the Isra starts, so now Hashem took it away from you, so now it's Taka Hefker, but it's still associated with you. No, it's not associated with you. I already said last night, I got no interest, this is worthless, this is offer. The Bitul works. Let's summarize what we learned. We're trying to understand what is Bitul Chametz. Bir Chametz doesn't need so much explanation because it's physical. You destroy your Chametz, you destroy the Chametz. What's this concept called Bitul? Where was it introduced? How did anybody discover it? What's the source for it? Why was it developed? How can the Gemarah say Min HaTorah Bitul is enough? Like, from where, from what, from when? You can't just invent a concept in halacha and this is what becomes true. You have to have a source. We want to understand the source, we want to understand the mechanism. So the first source we introduced was Rashi, who tells us clearly that Bitul is learned from the word Tashbisu. Tashbisu, it doesn't say Tevaru, teaches us that there's a different method of destroying chametz in addition to the physical method, and that is a concept called Tashbisu. What is Tashbisu? Tashbisu, he says, is believe. Even if you physically don't destroy it, you could still get rid of your chametz. How do you get rid of your chametz? You can't get rid of your chametz if you don't physically eliminate it or get it out of your house. And the answer is, according to Rashi, a concept called Bitul Chametz, which he describes on Daf Daled Amud Aleph, Mesiach Daitei Minei Mashvilei Ka'afra. You divert your mind from it and you turn it into offer. That's what Rashi says. So many Mefarshim Achronim, the famous Shalsa Chuvas Maharik and Asfas Emes, they explain that what Rashi is teaching us here is that Bitul is a new concept. It's a concept that requires a separate pasuk called Tashbisu. It's a new concept. It's a concept that doesn't exist in the rest of Torah. It's basically a perspective on chametz. A person cultivates a certain perspective on the chametz in which he is completely not interested and engaged in the chametz. The chametz carries no weight for him, no mass, no volume. Even though it has mass and it has volume, maybe a nice bottle of liquor, but in his eyes it carries no weight because it's meaningless, it's valueless. His interest in chametz is like his interest in a particle of dust. And that's why he doesn't transgress the Isser of Bal Yeirah or Bal Yemotzeh, because Tashbisu teaches me that even if in my own heart this chametz is meaningless, it's as though physically there's no chametz there. As the Ramban puts it, he's moitziyah mitoras chametz, mitoras eichel, and it becomes offer in his own, because that's what it is. For him, since Pesach is coming, and he's a Jew, and he's Yirei Shamayim, so for him, all this chametz is garbage. It's worthless, it's valueless. Right? The Ritva has a lashon, he says, Leka le teres lechem. It's not called bread anymore, even though it is bread. Physically it's bread, but it doesn't have the halacha of bread. In the world of halacha, it's not seen as bread, because by him, it's seen as garbage. By me it's seen as garbage, as dust. But by the rest of the world, by any normal Gentile who walks into my house, it's a wonderful piece of bread. That's fine, that's the chiddush of Tashbisu. That's the chiddush of Tashbisu, that the Bitul takes it out from a geder of lechem and puts it into a geder of afar in terms of halacha. The halacha will view it as afar. I don't have chametz in my house. I have dust in my house. I have earth in my house. An interesting thing, the Shut Maharik says that there's an example for this in halacha. We have a Maseches Sukkah, Daf Daled, a concept that if you have a sukkah that's taller than Esrim Amma, a sukkah that the schach is taller than 20 amas, around 30 or 40 feet, you have to obviously make it lower, because it's a pasal of sukkah, the first Mishnah in sukkah. Says the Gemarah, what happens if miyata beteven, you diminish, you lower the sukkah by putting straw. You put a heap, you put a level of straw in the sukkah, and as the Gemarah says, the bitel, he's mevatel the teven to the sukkah. He's mevatel the straw to the sukkah. So the Gemara says the sukkah is kosher. What's pshat the sukkah is kosher? You have teven there, you have straw there. If you have a chair there, you're going to say, oh, because there's a chair or because there's a bench, the sukkah is lower than 20 amas. It's not lower than 20 amas. Huh? Yeah, so the pshat is, but it's not a floor. It's straw. It's straw that you could feed your animals. It's not. It's like you'll put mattresses over there, right? Or you'll put chairs over there. You'll put benches over there. The pshat is, the Gemarah says, when you mavatal the teven to the sukkah, meaning you want the teven shouldn't be straw anymore. It should be sukkah. It should be a new floor for the sukkah. It becomes a part of the sukkah. So he says, what do you see here? What's bitul? Bitul redefines the straw. From animal food, it became a floor. So he says, what does bitul do here? From bread, it became offer. From bread, it became offer. Because in my mind, I want that straw to be a floor for sukkah. I don't want it to be fuel for a fire or fodder for an animal, right? Or hay for another purpose, to make bricks. I don't want that. I want it to be a floor of a sukkah. I mean, after sukkahs, we'll figure out what to do with the teven. But right now, for 8 days, for 7 days, I was mavatal the teven to the sukkah. So it's an interesting comparison that he uses the word bitul in the sense, not only bitul, it's worthless, which is bitul, it's nullified, it's abnegated because the lechem is here. But rather, in my mind, I look at the lechem and I see garbage. So what does it become? It becomes garbage. It's disassociation, mental disassociation. Right. According to this, Bitul, that's what the Ramban says, it has a definition of offer. It assumes the status of offer in halacha, even though it's not offer. A Gentile says, wow, nice bottle of whiskey. By your Rabbi Yemotzi, you're not even by your Rabbi Yemotzi. I just chametz here. Tashbisu, get rid of it. There's no chametz here. According to this, it's not the definition of hefker, which answers the question of the tzlach, according to Rashi. Why does the pasuk have to say, loy? Why does the pasuk have to say, lo yera lecha? And from here we learn that what? That you could see other people's chametz, Gentiles' chametz, because it says lo yera lecha. You're not allowed to see your own chametz. L'chayr, according to Rashi, that's superfluous because already says tashbisu. And the answer is that according to Rashi, it's not a definition of hefker. There's two separate halachas. There's halacha of lecha, and there's halacha of tashbisu. The halacha of lecha is that I'm allowed to have Gentile chametz in my home. I'm allowed to have non-Jewish chametz in my home. It's chametz. It's not mine. It's fine. That's lo yira lecha. The halacha of tashbisu is not a vart of hefker. If tashbisu was a pshat hefker, then you don't need lo yira lecha. You already learned from tashbisu that you can make your chametz hefker, and that's it. So you can have other people's chametz because it's not yours. According to this, it's two separate halachas. Tashbisu is a separate din called bitul, not hefker. It's the concept that mentally I disengage from the chametz and I see it as offer and I see echtas from it, it becomes batul. It's as though it's not there. What do I mean as though it's not there? It is there. It's as though it's not there in terms of chametz. It's as though that the chametz is not there.
So going into Pesach, there's an affirmation that it's bitul. So going out of Pesach, do you have to have a similar process where in my mind, my das is now affirming that it's my chametz again outside.
No, you don't need that. You don't need
my
that.
operation of
De facto,
So when yeta begins, my das, I don't even have das. It just becomes mine.
Right. So your lecha teaches you taka hefker. They're allowed to have chametz of hefker. You're allowed to have chametz that belongs to somebody else. That's what your lecha teaches you. So you need the pasuk because Tashbisu wouldn't teach that to you. Tashbisu just tells you about a special, unique din of bitul because he doesn't learn that bitul is hefker. If you teach bitul is hefker, like many teach, right? Then what do you need lo yira lecha according to Rashi? According to Tosfos Taka, what is bitul? Bitul is hefker. You made it ownerless. That's it. Tosfos believes it goes into the genre of hefker. And where do you learn it out from? Lo yira lecha. Since from Leira Lecha you learn now that you're allowed to have other people's chametz. So Mele you're allowed to have hefker chametz. So Mele, if you mafker your chametz, you're not over. You don't need a special concept called bitul chametz. Bitul chametz just means the chametz is ownerless. That's it. You make your chametz ownerless. And since the Torah says Leira Lecha, you're allowed to have other people's chametz. Therefore it's good. The tzlach says, like Rashi, you don't need lecha, you already has tashbisu. Tosfos doesn't learn it from tashbisu, he learns tashbisu. According to this, it's beautiful because it's two separate halachas. One is halacha of hefker, and one is halacha of bitul. It's two separate dinim. If a Gentile puts chametz in my house, it's not batel. It's hefker. It's not hefker. It belongs to him. It doesn't belong to me. This l'chayre is similar to the shitta of the Rambam. We went through the Rambam. The Rambam says, what is hashbasa? He doesn't use the word hefker. The Rambam doesn't say, you're mafkir, you're chametz. The Rambam says, what is hashbasa? Hashbasa is yivat loy beliboy. You should consider it like afar. And in your mind, you should consider the fact that in your rishus you don't have chametz klal. You do have chametz. It's all like afar kedavar she'ein by tzorich. It's absolute garbage. It's inferior to garbage. Garbage you want to get rid of. Here it's afar. You have no meaning, no value, no significance to it, no interest in it. Yasim beliboy she'ein b'rishusay chametz klal. That's, again, he does not use the word hefker. That is also how he defines tashbis. If there's a nafkamin or lemaisa between the two.
Yeah, as far as like the status, as far as the chametz will be burned anyhow, so there's no chametz left anyhow. If there's any chametz left, according to one it's hefker, so someone else could take it, I guess. According to Rashi, if it's like hefker, he still sort of owns it. He just made it die in the stuff.
Well, he doesn't own it. Also, it's a form of lepoil. It's hefker also. Lepoil, it's hefker also because a particle of dust is hefker also. You understand? But it's not the idea that I declare it ownerless. That's the word. It's a special din of chametz, a special din in chametz. That in my mind I see it as afar, and therefore it works. Hefker means I don't own it. It's not afar. It could be very, very valuable.
In the case of hefker, you don't have liability for it, correct? That would be the nafkamina. In other words, if according to the brisa, we learned that you have the burden of it, but no benefit from it. You have like the board from Shus and Rabbi, right? So that would be the nafkamina. Hefker, if it really is truly hefker, then you have no liability for it, other than a bore and chametz at the 6th hour.
And a chaname. You're right. Then we learned the shitta of the Ran. What does the Ran tell us? The Ran adds a new dimension here. Rabbi Nissim asks the big question, and that is, how does hefker work? He agrees that Bitul is hefker, but it shouldn't work. Because when you say that something is like afar, it doesn't become hefker. And when you say something in your heart, when you in your heart think that something is hefker, it doesn't work. It doesn't become hefker. You have to articulate it. And yet by chametz we see that all the rules change. You don't have to say it with your mouth, according to many poskim. It doesn't have to come to anybody's house, even according to the B'yos. You don't have to do it in front of 3 people. You don't have to say it's hefker. You could just say it's afar. How does all this work? So the Ran is mechadash. What does the Ran teach us? A concept, a powerful idea, and that is that really this is different than any other hefker. Why is it different than any other hefker? Because it's not really yours, even if you do nothing. Chametz on Pesach is not in your rishus. It was taken from you. Because it was taken from you, you don't need to make it hefker. It was made hefker already. Your authority was relinquished from this chametz. As the Gemarah says, Shnei dvarim einam b'rishusay shel adam v'asaya kasav kilu b'rishusay. 2 things are not under your rulership. The Torah holds you liable, but it's not really yours. It's considered as though it's yours, but it's not really yours. Why is it not yours? Because the definition of something being yours is that you have some rights in it. If you have absolutely no rights, you don't own it. You can't use it, you can't sell it, you can't give it, you can't eat it. You have absolutely no schus. For all practical purposes, this is not yours. The only thing that makes it yours, to quote the Shulchan Aruch Harav that we learned, is that your name is associated with it. But legally it's not yours. It's under your name, as they would say. It's under your name. Why is it under your name? Because it's in your house. You keep it there. But essentially it's not yours. So the Ran says you don't have to make it hefker. It is hefker. The only reason that you're liable for it is because the Torah says you're liable, but it's not yours. So therefore, you don't have to have the regular halachas of hefker. If you had to make it hefker, everything changes. then there's many laws how to make something hefker. You can't say it's offer, you can't say it in your heart, etc. But since here you don't have to make it hefker, all you have to do is, as the Ran puts it, in the copies that we learned, what does the Ran say? The begiluye daita ba'alma, by just revealing your das, by just expressing your view, that loy nichel, you're not interested in it, you don't want this chametz, that itself is enough to extricate it completely from any connection to you, to extricate it from your domain completely, even the minimal connection that it has, and you're not chayiv. That's what the Ran tells us. In other words, it's not a regular case of hefker. Because it's not a regular case of hefker, we don't need the regular requirements. So what do you need to do? All you need to do is, that's what Bitul is. What is Bitul? Bitul means that basically, you're saying, I also want it to be hefker. It's already hefker. But I agree to that. I also want it. I'm not interested in it. I don't want to hold on to it. It's Pesach. I don't want to. That's enough. Because what you're doing then is, you're just, so to speak, agreeing to the Torah. That's what you're doing. In his words, just revealing your mindset. Just showing that your mindset, that you're not interested in it. Automatically the Torah doesn't now hold you liable for it. Because really it's not yours. It's just the Torah holds you liable. Why does the Torah hold you liable for it? Because you have some interest in it. You have some invested interest in it. You have some stake in it. The moment you show us you're not interested, how? By thinking or saying it's afar, it's dirt. So automatically the hefker takes root, and you're not chayav on it. As the Balatani explained in Shulchan Aruch Harav, that we learned in Siman Taf Lamed Daled, that the idea that the Torah makes you liable is that your name is associated with it. What does it mean your name is associated with it? That when it comes to Bal Yeirah, Bal Monsey, it's your chametz. What makes it yours? It's not yours. You have no schus in it. You have no chelik in it. You can't benefit from it. So what makes it yours? You can't do anything with it. What makes it yours? This is mine. What does it mean this is mine? The jacket is mine, I could wear it. The jacket is mine, I could sell it on eBay. The jacket is mine, I can gift it. The coffee is mine, I can drink it. I can feed it to my cat if I want. I don't have one, but theoretically, I can give it to you. It's something. I have this chametz. What's mine? I can't do anything. I can't eat it, right? I can't benefit from it. I can't gift it. I can't even give it to my dog. Nothing. So it's mine. What makes it mine? What do I have with it? It's absolutely, there's no chelik, no schus. I have absolutely no equity in this. This is not part of my nechasim. I can't do anything with it. But mail, it's not mine. So I shouldn't be over by Rabbi Yimotz. It's not my chametz. Lo yirah lecha. You're not over on your chametz. Elamai, the Torah considers it yours. What's the Torah considers it yours? Your name, Nikra Shmoyalov. Your name is associated with it. That you're over by Rabbi Yimotz. So you don't need here hefker gomer. You don't need a real hefker. The moment you're Mesiach Das, the moment you're mevatel it in your heart, the moment you consider it like afar, the moment you say this is afar, meaning I am not interested in this, it's worthless, that is enough to extricate your name from this chametz, so it shouldn't even be called yours. It's not yours. You don't have to do anything for that. Regular hefker, you have to make it not yours. Here, God does the job.
Why does the Alter Rebbe bring in his footnote to your name is on it? Why does he bring the Why does he bring the Rashi in Bava Kama and not the Rashi in Pesach? Why is he bringing from a core?
Because just Rashi over there says that lashon exactly. Rashi just uses that language. So I don't have to regular have to make it not mine. Here I don't have to make it not mine. It's not mine. All I have to do is that little association that it still has with me, that it's called mine. It's called mine. That I cut. I cut my cords to it. It's not even called mine. Why is it not called mine? Because I say, this and me have no shaykhs. I don't need this. I don't want this. This is off. That's how the Ran explained how the hefker works. It's not a regular hefker. From Tosfos, it's mashma. It's a regular hefker. You just make it ownerless. He says, no, you're not making it ownerless. It's ownerless. All you're doing is that little association that the Torah gave you, that it's called yours, even though it's not yours. You say, don't call this mine, because me and this have absolutely no connection. For me, this is garbage. This is worthless, and that's all you need in order to do it. That's how Bitul works.
it's a contradiction. On one hand, Bitul is like Russian learns from Tashbis. Another thing, the association with me from the four learns from.
The Ran doesn't learn it from Tashbisu. The Ran learns Lo Yirah Lecha. From Lo Yirah Lecha. Shalcha Yateraya. Only Rashi holds you learn it from Tashbisu. Rashi and the Rambam. The other Rishonim hold it's Lo Yirah Lecha. It's a gather of Hefker. Bitul means Hefker. How does it become Hefker? By saying it's offer. It doesn't work. The answer is it becomes Hefker. You know why? Because it is Hefker.
So nobody else learns Tashbisu. Rambam learns from Tashbisu.
The Rambam, yeah. Like Tosfos says clearly, Lo Yirah Lecha. It says Lo Yirah Lecha.
So the Ran is in Shulchan Rabbi suggests
Follows the Ran, yeah. Most posts can follow the Ran, like Tosfos, that it's an inyan of Hefker, but as he explains, it's not a regular Hefker. Tosfos just makes it like a regular Hefker. The Ran is Mechadish this word, that it's not a regular Hefker. It's already Hefker on its own. You don't need to do it. That's why you could just say Offer. The question is, according to Rashi, I understand why you say it's Offer. You don't need to say it's Hefker, because it's a gather of Tashbisu. The Rambam also, just say it's Offer. But like Tosfos, like the Ran, if you say it's Hefker, why do you say it's Offer? Say it's Hefker. Say it's ownerless. Don't say it's Offer. It's not Offer. It's ownerless. If I'm after this safer, I say it's Offer. It's ownerless. If I'm after this mic, say it's ownerless. Hefker. You have a field. You mafkid it. You say it's Offer. It's not Offer. It's Hefker. Why by Chamet suddenly it's a new nusach Offer? That's what the Ran is explaining. The Balatanya is explaining. That you don't have to make it Hefker. It's Hefker on its own. Hashem made it Hefker. Rebbeinu Shalom made it Hefker. All you need to do is get rid of your connection. The Torah holds you liable for it. It's yours in terms of liability. It's not yours in terms of legality, just in terms of liability. How do I get rid of that? I don't have to say it's ownerless. In fact, it's ownerless without me. What I have to say is, I'm not interested. I don't want it. I'm not holding on to it. I don't have an association with it. Stop calling me. Stop calling it mine. Why are you calling it mine? You're calling it mine because I want you to call it mine. I don't want you to call it mine. It's worthless. You're calling it mine, not because it's mine, because I want you to call it mine, because I don't agree with this system. I'm not interested in chametz on Pesach, the whole system of Pesach. I want the chametz. That's if I don't do Bitul. If I do Bitul, what am I saying? I don't want to call it mine, so why are you calling it mine? I'm not interested. So Ka'afra Da'ada would help, even though you don't say the Nusach of Hefker. Calling it, you could say it's Hefker, I don't care. But if you say it's Afar, that's enough. And that's why you don't have to articulate it verbally. All the halachas of Hefker don't apply, because this is a very different situation.
But the issue here is more offer than Hefker. Hefker is everybody, I think, understand, including the Russian, you could say they understand Hefker. But the issue is, how the effort came into...
How the Hefker works.
Is it Messiah?
You're right. You're right.
Or it's a beer and then...
100%. That's why the Nusach is lebatel, v'lahave ka'afra da'ara. Even though lahalacha we add the word Hefker. As the Shulchan Aruch Harav says, you should add the word Hefker, simply for extra credit, to make it clear. But nonetheless, even if you never say the word Hefker, it's perfectly fine. Lefi Tosfos, it's mashma that it's a regular case of Hefker. Because Tosfos says, you need it in front of 3. So what's his answer? His answer is not. Nah, you don't need 3 because you're not making it Hefker. Right? His answer is, Midoiraisa ein sarach. Different answer.
So the Lush Ka'astra Da'ara with the Tosfos wouldn't help.
Right.
So that's why we say both. Hefker after that, I mean,
Yeah. We say taka both, yeah. We say lepoil both. In the Nuschayos we say both. Because the Pais can bring, the Achroinim bring that, to be yoitze, to be medaktik, so we're mafanat and we say hefker gober, even though you don't have to, because it's a different type of hefker. And the source of this, as the Ran says, the source is the Sifri. The Sifri, which comes from the Tanoim, says lo yira lecha batal belibcha. So over there it's mashma that Bitul you learn not from Tashbisu but from Lo Yera Lecha, that it's an inyan of Hefker. The Ran's Chiddush is it's not a regular type of Hefker. It's Hefker. The reason you're not Yoitz, you're not Oiver is because it doesn't belong to you. How doesn't it belong to you? Because Hashem took it away from you. So why do you need to do anything? Because He holds you liable. Why does He hold you liable? because your name is associated with it, because you want it to be yours. The moment you say, I don't want it to be mine, for example, I say, this is as meaningful as a particle of dust. I don't have interest in it. I'm not holding on to it. I don't need dust. You could take dust from me. Good. You want to say hefker? Avada good. Avada good. We learned the Ramban, who first quotes Rashi's Shitta Tashbisu, that you learn it from Tashbisu. And the Ramban says that Bitul takes it out, similar to Rashi and the Rambam. Bitul takes it out from the Torah of Chametz and puts it into the category of Afar. That's how the Ramban learns it, which is very similar to Rashi and the Rambam, although there are subtle differences and changes, but I'm just talking about more in general terms. And the Ramban says, how does that work? How does this concept of Bitul work? What? It's magic? I say it's offer, it becomes offer. What do you mean? You say it's offer. Say from Hypers Morgan it's offer. I don't care. It's not offer. Hefker, I understand. Hefker doesn't have to be offer. It could be chametz. It's supposed to belong to me. Hefker makes a lot of sense. Bitul without Hefker is panuch concept. So the Ramban again uses the same concept of the Ran, but in a different twist, in a different fashion, to explain Bitul not as Hefker. For the Ran, it's all Hefker. The Ramban explains it not in the words of Hefker, and he says that essentially the Torah doesn't look at it as yours. Same idea. It's not lecha. Why is it not lecha? Because it's not in your rishus. As he puts it, Isurei hana einay mammon. It's not mammon. We learned it again in our copies, so it's not called lecha. So really, you shouldn't be over. It's just the Torah treats it as though it's in your rishus. Why? Because daitay love. Because you want it, right? So you hold it's yours. Nobody else does. God doesn't, but you think it's yours. So there says, you think it's yours? Okay. Eat the kasha. You think it's yours, so deal with the consequences. The moment his schema daitay ladas Torah, the moment, that's the Ramban's Lashon, the moment I am maskim to das Torah. It's a very interesting expression of the Ramban. That the gather of Bitul is his schema daitay ladas Torah. Your das now agrees with Torah and says what? I'm not interested in this. It has no din mammon for it. So automatically, I'm not over. Why am I not over on it? Because Eino Yover Alav, and the Ramban says, because it's not called Lecha, because it's Asr and it's not Reitze B'chiyomei. But then he says, perhaps it's like Rashi, that you learn it from Tashbisu. What's Tashbisu? Tashbisu means not physically, but that in your eyes it shouldn't be Sa'ir. Lo Yirah Lecha would mean in your eyes it shouldn't be like Sa'ir. That's what it would mean. And the Targum Onkelos says, Tashbisu, he says, Tevatlun. That's what he says. And that's the Ramban's first explanation. At the end he says that Lepoil, it says in Sifri, that Lo Yirah Lecha Batal B'libcha, it's a concept of Lo Yirah Lecha. And again, he says, since you're meyayish from it, because it's usher, you don't care for it, you're meyayish, you despair from it, so therefore it's completely fine. That's how the Ramban learns. Okay, let's now. He brings in the word yiyush and compares it to an aveda. When you lose something and you're miyayish, everybody could take it. Why? Because it's hefker, basically. It's hefker. It's my pen. It's my watch. Because since I was miyayish, I relinquish association with it. I relinquish ownership. Even though here I wasn't miyayish, right? I wasn't miyayish. I just said it's offer. But here again, since the Torah already says it's not yours, and I agree, I say this for me is nothing. I'm not going to be doing anything with it. Over Pesach, it's like I was miyayish from it, meaning I have nothing with it. I give up any right. What's yiyush? Yiyush is I give up my rights on it. This is hopeless for me. This chametz is hopeless. I don't have any connection to it. So that automatically takes it out from my rishus.
There's no interest, any interest. You cannot.
Yeah.
If you weren't, if in another context, if there's no yush, and someone steals something, then his name is associated with it. You say over there that, like here, there's some kind of possessory interest in it for purposes of liability. In the case of a Kenyan gezel, just like the Kenyan chametz, or it's too far to draw that analogy. My shame is.
Yeah, we're not holding there yet.
Someone steals something and
right.
dies, and his kids want to pay back, so that his father's shame is not on it. But that's a different shame.
Yeah, that's different. Yeah. Now, if you look at your copies, I want to point out a very interesting commentary of the Rosh Yosef. The Rosh Yosef, in your copy, is the second to the last source. He says Rashi, in this page of the sources, yeah, the second to the last paragraph is Rosh Yosef. He says, Rashi midiksiv tashbisu. Shabbos, Shavas, tashbisus me'inyim bitul, k'may Shavas vayinofash bitul malacha. Shabbos is called Shabbos. It says, Sheishis yom masa Hashem v'sashmayim v'saretz v'yayim hashvi, Shavas vayinofash. What's Shavas? Shavas means he rested. But what is the concept of resting on Shabbos? Shabbosin, bitul malacha, a cessation of work. The malacha ceases. You cease to do malacha. That is what Shabbos means. Shabbos is kivoy shavas Hashem. Right? We say vayishbois bayayim hashvim kol malachtoi. Kivoy shavas vayinofash. What happened then? The creative work stopped. It ceased. It says hu adin kan tashbisu. So how does Rashi define tashbisu? According to Rashi's interpretation, the same concept like shavas. What is shavas? Shavas is bitul malacha. What is bitul malacha? You cease creative work. What is bitul chametz? The chametz ceases to be. That's the concept of bitul. The chametz ceases. It's tashbisu. That's why Tango Munkala says, Bayam Arish tashbisu is tevatlun chamira. You should be mevatel. The bitul basically means, here you seize the malacha. So you stop doing malacha and therefore you create tashbisu. And here the chametz seizes. What does it mean? What does it mean the chametz seizes? How does the chametz seize? Bitul malacha we understand. You stop doing work. So the malacha is gone. What's pshat bitul chametz? Yeah. So what it means is you see the chametz seizes. You stop your connection with the chametz. You interrupt your relationship with the chametz. Your interest with the chametz. The chametz ceases to be because in your mind it ceases to be. What does it mean it ceases to be? It has no mass, no volume, no interest, no significance, no value. It's as though it doesn't exist. In my mind it ceases to be, as the Rambam says, ein boy tzoyrech klal. That's the concept of bitul. And then he adds, b'sifri darash lo yira lecha. In Sifri it says, lo yira lecha chametz batal belibcha. Which was the source, great source for Tosfos, that bitul you learn from lo yira lecha, you don't learn it from tashbisu. So the Rosh Yosef here adds a very fascinating interpretation. B'sifri darish lo yira lecha, mashma lecha levadcha, av shebe'ein achedim nira sheyesh lecha bebeischa. V'zeh habitul av belev sagi. V'avded arshinan shalcha yaterei mikomukim ein hamikri yotzim edei pshutoi, v'tarti shamat minei. Here he gives a very original interpretation. What does lo yira lecha sa'er b'chol gvulcha mean? So we have been explaining, as the Gemarah says, that it's a drash. Don't see to you chametz in your house. Lo yira lecha. It shouldn't be seen to you. What does it mean it shouldn't be seen to you? If it's not seen to anybody. If it's seen to me. So the Gemarah explains that it's a concept. Lo yira lecha chametz. What chametz shouldn't be seen? The chametz that is yours. That's the chametz that shouldn't be seen to you. Even though it says lo yira lecha chametz. What does it mean lo yira lecha chametz? Not chametz shouldn't be seen to you, because if it's not seen to you, it's not seen to anybody. If it's seen to other people, it's seen to you also. But what it means is lo yira lecha chametz. The chametz that is lecha shouldn't be seen. Lo yira lecha chametz. Chametz to you, chametz that is yours. But the Rosh Yosef says, Eina mikra yotzim edei pshutai. Let's read the words literally. Lo yira lecha chametz b'chol gvulcha means chametz should not be seen to you, even though it's seen to the whole world. How can that happen? The chametz shouldn't be seen to you, even though everybody else sees it at chametz. He says, this is what bitul is. Bitul means I look at the mashka and what do I see? Feh, garbage. What does everybody else see? Any guy who walks to the house, they see chametz. Says that's what the Sifri means. Not lo yira lecha, that it's a union of hefker. No, it's a concept that the Torah here allows a new concept. As long as you don't see it as chametz, I couldn't care less what everybody else does. That's what bitul is. It's not a word of hefker. Hefker means I see it as chametz. It doesn't belong to me. It's your special glasses. That's what the Lecha teaches. That's why the Sifri says, Lo yera lecha batal belipcha. It's not a raya to Tosfos that Bitul is hefker. No. Lo yera lecha means, Lo yera lecha sar b'chal gvulcha. Lo yera lecha chametz b'chal gvulcha. It shouldn't be seen to you. What do you mean to me? To anybody. Get rid of it, you don't see it. So there's a concept of getting rid of chametz, and everybody still sees it. I'm the only guy who doesn't see it. Why not? Ich bin der einzige Meshugene. I'm the only Meshugene in Shtetl. I don't see it. The answer is because I was mevatel it. What's that? I was mevatel it? Because basically, in my mind, I don't see it as chametz. I see it as garbage. Everybody else does. They see it. We all know how this works in other areas. Somebody has a bad flu or a bad virus, chas v'shalom, and they're sick to their stomach, right? And the birthday cake, there's a beautiful birthday in the house or a beautiful dinner in the house, and the most delicious course comes out. And everybody is starving and they chop the food, yeah? But you're so sick, you look at the food and what do you say? This is making me nauseous. How can it make you nauseous? In a week from now, you will devour this food in the most exciting way. But right now, you're sick. So therefore, the same food that everybody is crazy about, right? For you, makes you absolutely nauseous. You don't see food here. You see nausea. Okay? Right? It's a very subjective experience. Everybody else sees food. You see absolute garbage. If you want to take it a step further, right? Somebody who's very health-oriented or somebody who knows nutrition, yeah, there's a beautiful piece of cake and everybody's eyeing it at the Kiddush. Who's going to get it, right? And he looks at it and he sees the pneumius of it and he knows this is toxicity, this is poison, this is garbage. Everybody's going crazy about it. So there are people who go crazy about it, but they still don't eat it. And then there's a person, the whole thing is mos. Like Chidushi Talmud HaRashba said, that Lefi Rabbeinu HaGadol, Bitul is Medin Mius. It's Medin Mius. What says Medin Mius? Since I'm a Jew and it's Pesach, so therefore this chametz for me is offer. The rest of the world screams it's chametz, fine. Pajalis gesundheit. Yeah.
In the modern world, there's a beautiful parallel.
Yeah.
There's augmented reality, where you put the glasses, which can't augment your reality. For example, in the simplest case, when you look at the bread itself, not yours, so, or just obscure the bread with something else, with another object. So it's your augmented reality. It's only for you. Everybody sees it.
Yes, very well. Augmented reality, exactly. And that's what the Torah says. Lo yera lecha chametz. That's it. All I'm asking of you is, it shouldn't be seen to you. Everybody else could see it. In other words, you don't have to get rid of it. If I care that other people see it, you have to get rid of it. But I don't care if other people see it. I care that it shouldn't be seen to you. What do you mean it's not seen to me? It is seen to me. The answer is, because to me it's not seen as chametz. This is the concept of Bitul. That's how he teaches it. And that's where the Sifri learns it from Layira Lecha. Rashi learns it from Tashbisu, but it's the same gather. It's not pshat hefker, it's pshat offer. That's what he ties. But so he asks, the Gemarah says another drashal chayat raya, says eina mechriyatzim de pshutai. This is the pasha to pshat in the pasuk. This is the pasha to pshat in the pasuk.
Where's Rashi around that you have to destroy it?
He doesn't. Rashi holds Bitul is enough. The Ran explained to us. Now Rashi may hold that Hashbisu means also destroy it. There's two alternatives. One is to destroy it, and one is to be mevatel it. Everybody holds that beer will work. Yeah, as the Ran explains in the beginning of Pesachim, there's basically two alternatives what to do with chametz. One is Bitul, and one is beer. And throughout all the generations, the Jews could choose one over the other. They could choose one over the other. They can either do Bitul, and that's enough min HaTorah, or do beer, and that's enough min HaTorah. You can get rid of the chametz, you can mevatel the chametz. And both work. Both will cause you not to be over on Bayirah Bal Monsey, and obviously Bitul is much easier. Bitul takes approximately 1 second, or a half a second, or a millisecond, especially if you hold, you don't even have to articulate it. Erev Pesach, 11:59 a.m., you could look at all the chametz in your house and say, Ke'afra da'ara. And that's it. Kaput, get ready for the Seder. I have a house filled with chametz. I don't care. Lo yirah lecha chametz. Huh? The Rabbanon said Minat Torah, you don't have to cover it. As long as you don't need it, you don't have to cover it. Minat Torah, you don't have to do anything. I'm not talking the rabbinic obligation. I'm talking Minat Torah. Till they were Masakim B'dikas Chametz. This is a takon in the Mishnah. The Mishnah is after Bayis Sheni. Jewish history has been going on for a while. The second Beis HaMikdash stood for 420 years. The first Beis HaMikdash stood for 410 years. The first Beis HaMikdash was built only 440 years after they went into Eretz Yisrael. So you're dealing with a period from Moshe Rabbeinu till the destruction of the Beis HaMikdash. You're dealing with a period of close to a millennia. And much more, 1,500 years. Because they came into Eretz Yisrael as 440 years and they built the first Beis HaMikdash as 410 years. So that's already 850 years. Then there's 70 years of Galus. So that's 920 years. Then there's another 420 years for Bayis Sheni, right? So it's close to 1,500 years. And then only a century later the Mishnah was written. So whenever they made the takana of B'dika and Sambir, but at some point it was at the end of Bayis Sheni or after Bayis Sheni, whatever it was, we don't know exactly. The Mishnah records it. We don't know exactly when it was made. But you're dealing with 1,500 years after Tashbisu. Even more. So as a result of that, how was it done for first 1,500 years? So the Ran holds. You had a choice. You want to do beer, gesundheit. Do beer. You want to do bittel, you could do bittel. The rabbis introduced other takanas. They introduced the concept of beer and b'dika. First of all, you have to get physically rid of the chametz. In other words, you can't leave the piece of cake on the counter. Number two, you have to check. That's a second takana they made. You have to check and search in places where there may be chametz or there may not be chametz. And they also said it has to be the night before. They also gave a time frame. Now the question is why they made this. What did they care to make life easy and just leave bittul? So Tosfos answered, they were afraid you're going to eat it, like you said. Abracadabra could do, it's not chametz, it's offer. But you know what? You're hungry, there's a bagel there, you're going to come to eat it. And we have a good reason for this because you eat it all year. It's not like you don't eat it all year. That's a very rational reason why the Chachamim said we cannot rely on this bittul. Call it hefker, call it this, whatever you want to call it, you're going to come in. Rashi didn't say that. Rashi said, Boitkin as a chametz, shalai laver of bayira bayimotzi. He's afraid you're going to be... Tosfos says, I don't understand Rashi. The first Tosfos in Pesachim, right? You remember? Tosfos said, I don't understand Rashi, because we're doing bittul anyway. Haboidik tzarech shevatul. We're doing bittul anyway. Since we're doing bittul anyway, so you're never going to be over bayira bayimotzi. B'dika is only because you may come to eat it, but you don't have an issue by bayimotzi. So one of the ways of explaining Rashi is the Ran introduces another reason why bittul is not enough. What was the second reason the Ran introduced? Tosfos doesn't say this reason. Because the bittul may not be belev shalom. The bittul may not be sincere. Because it may not be sincere, we are afraid that you're going to be over on by Rabbi Yamatzeh. Now that's a very interesting idea. That idea is that Erev Pesach, 11:59, when I look at all those bottles of liquor, and I look at all that bread, and I say, Offer. You're garbage. You're valueless. I don't see you as chametz. I see you as garbage. I may not mean it. I may not mean a word I'm saying. I'm saying it because that's the tradition. So it's like, people daven. You said daven. Right? There was once a mashpia, a mechanic, who was talking to his talmidim. And he said, a whole Shemona Esrei, you think about something else. At the end of Shemona Esrei, you say, Yiyu leratzoin imrei fi, vehegyoin libi lefanecha. The words of my mouth should be accepted willingly by you. Vehegyoin libi, the thoughts of my heart should be embraced by you. He says, how do you have the chutzpah? A whole Shemona Esrei, you were thinking about the plane ticket. You were thinking about the suit, you were thinking about the car, you were thinking about the phone, you were thinking about the bank, you were thinking about the appointment, you were thinking about this. And you finished it, you should be embarrassed. So the student said, what do you think we're thinking about when we say Yiyu l'ratzon imrei fi? The same thing that we're thinking all Shemona Esrei, yeah? So he gets up, 11:59, he says, the chametz is offer. Yiyu l'ratzon imrei fi. I don't mean it. And even if I do mean it, I don't mean it. It's not belev shalom. And if it's not belev shalom, the Ran says the bittul is worthless. Why? Let's understand why. And now we can understand why Tosfos doesn't say that. Perhaps. The Ran agrees with hefker, but the Ran has an addition. The Ran doesn't say it's regular hefker. The Ran says God makes it hefker. What is it? It's agreeing to Hashem. You got to mean that. You got to mean that. If it's just a lip service, even if I know what I'm saying, but it's not belev shalom, what does the Rambam say? It has to become like offer. What if it's not like offer? I would like to, but it's not really. It could be a question on the Bitul. The whole Bitul could be undone. Loi toisvis, that chashash is not a real chashash. I'll tell you why. If I say that this sefer is hefker, I don't care. As long as I knew what I was doing, right? Even if I felt compelled to do it, I don't have to be emotionally agreeable to it. I just have to do it legally right. You think everybody who sells their house wants to sell their house emotionally? The guy needs $1 million. He sells his house. As long as you do it, right? But you knew what you were doing. I don't mean that you were forced or you did it in your sleep. You knew what you were doing. You signed your name. It's hefker. Tomorrow you say, I'm not really interested. Fafalin. If Bitul is hefker, you made it hefker. I don't care what you feel like. I don't care if you want, you made it hefker. If I make something hefker, it's hefker. But if you hold that Bitul is an inner machshava, that yosim biliboy, that it's chametz, what if yosim, it's not yosim biliboy, that it's offer, what if not? The Ran says if the Bitul is not belev shalom, it's not Bitul. And then you're over on by Monsey. And we can understand why. Because the whole idea is lo yirah lecha chametz. You shouldn't see it as chametz. You should see it as garbage. I don't see it as garbage. I see it as a nice piece of chametz that Nebuch I have to get rid of. And therefore it may not be full. It may not be sincere. Like Tosfos, it's a pure technical, legal declaration. Like the Rambam, like Rashi, in many ways it's a conviction. It's an emotion. It's an experience. It's something deeper. I have to mean it. The sincerity. It's about sincerity. Hefker is not about sincerity. Hefker is about facts. It's a dry legal procedure. But tashbisu, bitul chametz, is almost a spiritual concept. Even the Ran who holds it's hefker, but lo yinichigle, ich bin nicht interessiert. What if ich bin ja interessiert? Okay, so we're not worried about everybody, because an ehrlich yid, even if he has a taiva to mashke, and he has a taiva to cake, Pesach is coming, yeah, lo yinichigle. But we're afraid that there could be a Messias, that the Bitul is not belev shalom. I'll just tell you the way he puts it. He says, the way the Ran puts it, first Ran. Bitul zeh toli b'machshavton shel bnei Adam, ve'ein de'yisei in Shabbos, ve'efshir sheyakelu b'kach, ve'lo yotziu milibon legamri. I have to take it out of my heart. Ro chachamim lahachmir shelo yaspik bitul v'yitzrichu bdiku bir shel maspik gamken min haTorah. The Ram gives a second reason in addition to Tosfos' reason. Tosfos doesn't give that reason, because for Tosfos it's hefker. I don't care. If you did it, right? But according to the Ran and according to the other shittas, it has to be believable. It has to be sincere. What does he put? He says, it's not belev shalom. The Bitul is not. I don't really think it's offer. It's not offer. It's not offer. Or like the Ramban puts it, nichale. B'meila the Bitul wouldn't work. Takirashi says, why do you do b'dika? Shaloi laver rabba b'yirah b'al yimotzei. There's a serious issue of b'yirah b'al yimotzei. Why is there a serious issue of b'yirah b'al yimotzei? Tosfos doesn't hold that. You did Bitul. Because if Bitul is an inner experience, it may not be belev shalom, and then you may be even on b'yirah b'al yimotzei. If you did a good Bitul, you won't be over on b'yirah b'al yimotzei. Right? That's one way of learning it. We also quoted the Bartanura's explanation. What's the Bartanura's explanation? You may undo your Bitul. In the middle of Pesach, you come into the pantry, you come into the house, you have a house filled with chametz if you only did Bitul, and you look at that and you say, wow, I'm making a bar mitzvah, Shabbos after Pesach, that's a good bottle. And what you just do, from afar, magic, abracadabra, kadu, from afar, it just became a beautiful piece of mashka, right? And what does he say? Machshava mevatalas machshava. Tosfos Yom Tov puts it, and your whole first Bitul is gone. According to Tosfos, that wouldn't work. You made it hefker, it's hefker. It's not yours. It's not yours anymore. You can't acquire an Isser Hana. God doesn't let you acquire chametz on Pesach. You can't acquire it. I mean, unless you go and buy chametz, if you want to go buy chametz. But just the machshava that I would like this to have after bar mitzvah is not going to make me acquire the mashke. I made it hefker. You had a machshava. But according to Rashi, the whole Bitul is a machshava. Right? It's not offer anymore. You could be an oik in the middle of Pesach. So again, you'll be over and by Rabbi. I'm just saying there's different ways of manifestation. So there's a big nafkamin. Why did the Chachamim make chiyuv beer? According to everybody, though, they said bittul is not enough. You got to do beer. If you do beer, I'm not worried. I don't care if your bittul is not sincere. Let it be insincere. There's no chametz. Gesundheit. Let's say your bittul is not sincere. You don't want it to be offer. Good, it's gone. I don't care. Fine. You got rid of it. That's why we do beer. That's why we do b'dikah. Then the Rabbi Yehuda, my Rav was mechadish in a later generation. This is the Mishnah. Comes 100, 200 years later, they said, okay, let's do only b'dikah and beer. No, you got to also do bittul. Why do you have to also do bittul? And the answer is, Shema Yom Segluska Yafa. You may find a nice piece of bread in the middle of Pesach. And if you didn't do bittul, you may delay it for a moment. Why? Because it's far to geschmack a piece of chametz, and you maybe want to call the Rav, what do I do? Or you may want to see if you can give it to your neighbor, or you may want to feed it to your pet, whatever it is. Or you're just having a hard time getting yourself to burn a $25,000 bottle of vodka that you did not find during b'dikas chametz and you never sold. And what's going to happen? The 20 minutes that you delay it looking for a heter, and to find a Rabbi Kiva Eger or Pischei Tshuva or some heter, you're going to be over by Rabbi Monsey if it's Bitul before.
So actually, Bitul, there are two ways to look at it. One is that it's like real Yom HaShoah, you can just go ahead, sitting in the base medrash and it's enough. And another one is Bitul is a legal declaration. So a legal declaration is like a verbal agreement. So according to Ram, that's what you would need. As Bitul is a verbal declaration, it's not yours. You don't care what you think. Yeah. If it's yours, if you're going to like
Yes.
So it's a verbal agreement, basically.
Yeah.
So
Comes.
Then Gemarah would be very fair. If he sits in the base medrash and just thinks about his heart, what's going to be. Okay, it's Bitul. According to Ram, it's not going to work.
No, it has to be belev shalom. You're right.
Not only belev shalom, he has to say it. Because if it's a verbal agreement, if it's an agreement...
No, okay, yeah. Okay, perhaps. Perhaps, yeah. Perhaps. The Maharam Chalva, one of the Rishonim, asks a big question on the Shitta of Rashi and the Rambam. What's his question? He says, if Bitul means that you turn it into offer, it becomes offer. So what he says, Oy bazai, chametz should be mutter bahana on Pesach, because it's offer. If you did Bitul, you should be able to have hana. Melee, I understand why you're not allowed to eat it, because by eating it, you're showing that it's not offer. Because you're eating it, you're not eating dust, you're eating chametz. So it shows that your Bitul is insincere. But he says, let's say, I have hana from chametz in the same way that you can have hana from earth. Okay? Let's say people sometimes need a pillow. It's hard for us in America to understand. So you take all your chametz. People would take a pile, like Yaakov Avinu, he took my avnei hamakim and he put it for his head. So you take your chametz on Pesach, yeah? You have soft bread and you want to put your head on it. You're allowed to have hana from it, he says. Why? It's offer. Have hana from the chametz on Pesach, like you have hana from offer. Just like Bitul helps for Bayira Bal Yimotze. That even though there's chametz in your house, you're not over because it's not considered chametz, it's considered offer. It's not bread, it's offer. So why can't you have hana from it? Because it's called offer. That's the Maram Chalva's question. Just like you're allowed to have it because it's not lechem, it's offer. So enjoy it because it's not lechem, it's offer. You're allowed to have hana from offer on Pesach. Huh? It's not yours.
So shall the same portion of the person. If it's half good, I don't know. It's not yours.
For example, with sukkah, that's enough from the. It's strong, but it's a flaw in his mind. But he's having enough from it because now he has. Now he can.
Yeah. So over there's no issa faked. Over there you want to enjoy the sukkah, yeah. But that's his taina.
So after he makes it up.
Yeah. He says if it's real.
So enough falls off of it.
If it's real, it's real. If it's hefker, you could say, yeah, Torah says you're not allowed to have an off from chametz, but you're telling me it's not chametz. No, because it's chametz. But here you're telling me it's not, it's offer. So be real with me. I understand you're not allowed to eat it, because you're not eating offer. When you eat it, you're megala that it's lechem. But if you're real, like the Ramban says, the Torah takes it out from lechem and it becomes offer, really? Really? You really believe that? He completely rejects this. Completely. So come on. Very interesting question. Have enough of it. He also asks a question the other way around, the other shitta, which the Ramban also asks. According to Rashi, I understand why it's called Bitul Chametz. According to Tosfos, why do you give it a new name? Why don't you just call it Hefker Chametz? Why do you invent a new name when it comes to Pesach? According to Rashi, it's very geschmack. It's a new name, Bitul Chametz. It's a new concept. Hefker Chametz. Why are you calling it Bitul? Why this strange word called Bitul? Rashi, I understand. It's a concept of Bitul. You're mevatel the Chametz. You're not mevatel the Chametz. You're making it Hefker.
The Ram would work the best.
Huh?
The Ram would work the best.
Oh. So you have to say, like the Ran, it's geschmack, because it's not a regular hefker. Because it's really not a regular hefker, because Hashem makes it hefker. You're just agreeing. So that's why, but it's a very interesting question. Why is it called hefker? Why is it called Bitul? Why is it not called hefker? He asks on both sides. I think the answer to the first question about Hana, which is a very interesting question. Are you allowed to have enough of chametz as earth? Not as bread, as earth. I have a hard mattress, or I don't have a mattress. Remember, today we take these things for granted, but you shouldn't take it for granted. They used everything for everything in the olden days. And today also in some third world countries, if you go to Africa, and I have mushy, moldy, mezainis bread, or hamaitzi bread, and I want to put it under my head. Not offer, not lechem, offer. Here I have garbage, and yeah, I'm putting garbage under my head because it's soft. I'm having enough of offer. It's very good. Yaakov used stones. I can't use chametz. How do you put your head on a stone? Ich weiß nicht. But some people could sleep on stones. You ever slept on a stone?
But then people might think that you protect him, because usually you have to deal with something.
But then it wouldn't be an Ism and a Torah. So that would be an interesting chiddush. You're saying Maris Ayin, maybe it could give a wrong perception. Afilu b'chadri chadorim, because people think you're sleeping on your chametz, you're holding on to it. But that would mean min Torah, you can have hana from such chametz, and that doesn't say anywhere that if you do bittul, you're allowed to have hana from chametz. It's a big chiddush.
It was really up for a person who wanted to wipe it on his forehead, and if you wanted to show a sign of Veilus, for example, or use it for a purpose to insulate. You were saying before his mattress, what if you wanted to cushion his mattress for, that he would pile the moldy bread, it's now upper. But isn't it by Avodah Zarah is the only kind of upper that you couldn't have? There's still a discount.
Right. So what I think, I mean, I'm not sure about this, but perhaps when you look at if you look at the expression of the Rambam, if you look at the expression of the Rambam in your copies, he says, "My yashbazu amur b'Torah, yivatli b'liba, yachshav oisei ka'afar, yasim b'liba she'en b'rishusei chametz klal, v'shekol chametz b'rishusei rei ka'afar, k'davar she'en b'tzarech klal." It's like repeating and expanding and repeating. First he says, imagine that it's like offer. Then you should imagine that you b'chal don't have chametz in your rishus, and all the chametz that you do have is like offer, u'kedavar she'en b'tzarech klal. Okay. If you look in the language of Adank, thank you. Thank you very much. If you look in the language of the Balatanya, Tafla Medala that we were learning about Bitul, so his lashon, what's Bitul? Tafla Medala Seif Zion. His lashon is what's Bitul? Bitul is, again, I'm going to quote, it's almost like the Rambam. Ikir bitul hu believe, sheyasim beliboy kol chametz sheberishusay, hareyu ki'ilu einoi. It's as though it's non-existent. Ve'einoi choshev klum, v'hareyu hu ki'afar, u'kedavar she'en boi tzarech klal. Kshegoymer beliboy kach, hareyu siach daitim mikol chametz sheberishusay, v'nasa hefker gomer v'shuv einav l'bay rabba yemotzei. Very important words. Offer is an example. Offer is an example. Huh?
Can't offer.
Atazai. It's ki'ilu einoi. Ve'einoi chashuv klum. Einoi chashuv klum. The physical illustration that we have for that is offer. We don't mean it has the offer is chashuv. We could do a lot of things with offer. You can grow a lot of trees with offer. I'm not only talking about the earth of Avram Avinu that was used for the wars. I'm talking about regular offer.
It's as a mattress.
Huh?
You can use it as
You can use it as a mattress. We walk on it. We produce things on it. You could use offer. You could turn offer into clay cheres, into clay adama, into mud, bricks. It could become a whole structure.
See, no,
Huh?
opposite. It's an anal. It's
At-
nothing.
Ataz. The Torah uses the word tashbisu. Tashbisu means seize, gone, ki'ilu einoi, destroyed in my heart, but destroyed. I have to look at it ki'ilu einoi, ki'ilu einoi. Offer is a mitzias. Offer you can enjoy. Offer is the best illustration. So why do we use the word offer? Parshas. Because we need something that's a mitzias, but it doesn't have chshivas. Because the chametz is here. We need something that's physically here, but it doesn't have chshivas. So b'meila we use the word offer, but really it's a metaphor. It's a metaphor for nothing. For it's as though it's garnished. That's the idea. If I'm having hanah from the chametz even as a pillow, what am I showing? It's not ki'ilu einoi. It's very serious. I didn't do tashbisu. Because it's a concept of chshivas. To be a little more precise, what would it be the value of 1 grain of sand? Just 1 grain of sand. That's what we mean offer. Like 1 grain of sand. What do you do with 1 grain of sand? You're going to put it under your pillow? Ooh, I know what to do. I have a grain of sand. I'm going to use it as a pillow. Really? You're not going to use it as a pillow. You know why? Because it's nothing. I mean, it's something, but it's nothing. There's no hanah from a grain of sand. Yeah, if I have a lot of sand, if I have a lot of soil, I could do a lot. I can't plant in a grain of sand. And I can't sell a grain of sand. I can't build a earthenware vessel from a grain of sand. That's what we mean offer. If so, the answer of the Maram Chalvaz L'Choira answered very well. If I have hanah from the chametz, I'm revealing that in my mind this is not a grain of sand. Why am I not over on Bayirah Bayimatzah? Because it's like a grain of sand. When I eat it, or when I have hanah from it, I'm uprooting the Bitul. But I want to tell you another answer, a little bit of a different answer. You can call it a Polish answer, that comes from the Chebiner Rosh Yeshiva, whose name was Rabbi Shimon Schneerson. There was the Chebiner Rav, who made a yeshiva, Koichav Meyakov, Chebini Yeshiva in Eretz. So he comes from Chebin in Poland. Rav Dov Berish Weidenfeld. His son-in-law was Rabbi Shimon Schneerson, the Rosh Yeshiva. It's now this yeshiva it's run by his children. And he has a sefer called Birchas Shimon. Rabbi Shimon Schneerson has a sefer called Birchas Shimon. I saw over there a vart. It's worth repeating. And he says, let's remember the Rosh Yosef. You remember the Rosh Yosef? Lo yirah lecha means it shouldn't be seen to you. Everybody else could see it, but you can't see it as chametz, which is the concept of Bitul. That's why he teaches the Rashi, learns it from Tashbisu. The Sefi learns it from Lo yirah lecha. It doesn't mean that it's hefker. Lo yirah lecha means, you remember, to you it doesn't look like chametz. To everybody else it does look like chametz. It's not seen by chametz because you did Bitul. That's what the Rosh Yosef explained, which is a very, very original vart to learn it out in Lo yirah lecha. So he says, Azoi, where does it say the word lecha? By Bayirah Bayimatzeh. Lo yirah lecha chametz. Lo yirah lecha b'chol gvulcha. When it comes to the prohibition of eating chametz or having hanah of chametz, it doesn't say the word lecha over there. So since it doesn't say the word lecha over there, so he says when it comes to Isser Hanah, you look at the Cheftzer the way it's perceived by the whole world. When it comes to Bayirah Bayimatzeh, the Torah gave a special dispensation that even though you're the only guy who sees it this way, and everybody else sees it as chametz, you're still not over on Bayirah Bayimatzeh because it says Lo yirah lecha chametz, Lo yirah lecha b'chol gvulcha. When it comes to eating and benefiting, it just says glat. You're not allowed to benefit from chametz. The fact that you don't see it as chametz, everybody else sees it as chametz. Because over there's no lecha, so you don't have this dispensation. So b'meila, you go back to the regular definition of chametz. What is it? It looks like a duck. It acts like a duck. It crows like a duck. It screams like a duck. It's a duck. You don't have enough of it. That's how he answers the question of the Maharam Chalva. Over there it doesn't say lecha. That's what the Baruch Shimon Shneis says in the Sefer Birchas Shimon. To the Santa, by Rabbi Monsey, it's a special Torah gave over here. It could be here, but it's not here. Why? Because you don't value it. By Ishmael, I'm going to go back to the Glat. Over here, the definition of chametz is a definition for everybody. It's not an individual lecha. It's all about your hashkafa, your lenses, what you call augmented reality. Now let's come to the one final point, the last point. Not the final point, but one last point. And that is the question now, why can't you do any of this after the Zman? All of this, we discussed what Bitul is. Why is there a limit that Erev Pesach, 12 o'clock p.m. or B'derabbanan 11 o'clock a.m., none of this will work. So Ach means that Hashbisu begins now, and you're not allowed to eat now, you're not allowed to have anah from chametz, got it. And we say no Bitul is allowed, which is why we have to do Bitul the night before or earlier in the morning. We can't do it during Bir Chametz, as the Gemarah explains, and we can't do it in the middle of Pesach when we find the Chametz. Why? Because right now you cannot be it Mavat. Like Tosfos, it seems to make sense. Why does it seem to make sense? Tosfos says you're making it ownerless. To make something ownerless, it has to be yours. If I want to give something to the Beis HaMikdash, I can't take your sheep and say it belongs to the Beis HaMikdash. Yeah. There's a halacha, ein adam oiser davar she'einer shaloi. I can't take something from somebody else and make it avodah zarah. It doesn't become aser. You don't have rights. You don't have connections to my nechasim. I could make my thing hektar. I could make it hefker. I can't come and say, by the way, I decided that your car is hefker. You can make your car hefker, although Jews sometimes think they could do these things. But you can't live somebody else's life. So Tosfos says, Erev Pesach, 12 o'clock, it's not yours. Why you're making it ownerless? It's not yours to make ownerless. Whose is it? It's hefker. It is already hefker. You can't make it ownerless. The only reason you're liable is because the Torah said you're liable, but not that it belongs to you. The Torah says you're liable, but it doesn't belong to you. If it doesn't belong to you, you can't make it ownerless. But if we hold that Bitul means, yeah, as the Ran says, you're just agreeing with Hashem. You don't have to make it hefker. Why can't you agree with Hashem in the middle of Pesach? In the middle of Pesach, I agree with him. And it should be, Bitul should work. If I make it hefker, verstehe ich. I can't make it hefker in the middle of Pesach. But if I'm just, hiskima daitei l'das ha'toyre. Nu sei maske mitten Pesach.
But if you agree to Torah, it says so I agree that he's the
Fine. Before that I didn't do Bitul. But I found now a piece of chametz in the middle of Pesach. Yeah. The Ran holds what's Bitul? Loi nichalei. I'm not interested in it. The Balatanya Shulchan Aruch Rav says, don't associate it with my name. You're calling it mine. Don't call it mine. That I can't do once the Isser begins. I can't do. I can't. The Rambam says you're turning it into offer. Yeah. So over there, maybe perhaps you could say, Reb Shmuel Rozovsky, Chidush Reb Shmuel says, that's also, you're turning it in, you're making it a chalois of offer, or something like offer, ki'ilu einai. You can't do that if it's not yours. Okay? But the concept of agreeing, I can't agree. It doesn't have any value. So this is the last point we want to address, just a few moments. So I want you to look in Rabbeinu David, Chidush Rabbeinu David, also one of the Rishonim, how he defines Bitul. Again, in these copies here, it's the fourth paragraph from the bottom. Rabbeinu David, the fourth paragraph from the bottom. Einoi oiver elam pnei shedaitoi alav kol zman sheyoyim shein daitoi lenishlav shum chiyuv. The only reason you're over on chametz is because your das is on it, meaning you want it, you're interested in it. The moment you say I don't want it, there's no chiyuv, you're good. Ubilvad sheyoyim ken koydem zman isur. But it always has to be before the Zman HaIsur. Why? Shemekibun shehi Zman HaIsur. It went out of your domain. It's just the Torah gives a gzeira that you're liable, even though it's not yours to be liable. Like a bird. It won't help if you say that you're not interested in it. The moment the Zman Isser begins, you have no shaykhis, ein loy esek klal. You have no connection to the chametz. It's like you're doing things in your friend's chametz. Chametz after 12 o'clock is like it's like somebody else's chametz. It's not yours. Ein loy esek by klal. But Mela, nothing that I say or don't say has any consequence on this chametz. What is Rabbi David telling us? Even the hiskima daite l'das hatayr. I say, I'm not interested in it. Verde gebet. I'm not interested in it.
So what he's going to do is Birchas Shema. Because that's his chometz is for everybody's chometz.
No, but he's explaining why Bitul won't help. The moment the time passes, this chametz is completely, it's like your chametz. So say, I'm not interested that your chametz should belong to you on Pesach. Who asked? You have no connection to it. Who asked you? Even though this is my chametz and I'm being liable, he says it's a gzeirus hakosah that the Torah holds you liable. But there's nothing that you have with this chametz. Nothing. So your opinions, your mindsets, your statements, your declarations, even though, what are you saying? All Bitul is, according to the Ram, you say, I'm not interested in it. Shouldn't that have an impact? He says, you can't say it's too late. I'm not interested in it. It's too late to say I'm not interested in it. Why? Because you have no say. You have absolutely no say. It's like you once had a company, you owned it, right? You gave it completely away, 100% of it. 20 years later, you come to a board meeting and I says, my opinion is... Your opinion has absolutely no weight. It carries no weight.
You didn't give it away. They foreclosed on you.
They foreclosed on you, yeah. God foreclosed on you. Now you say, I have an opinion on this chametz. You know what my opinion is? Garbage. Even that opinion is Ishkan opinion. It's like I come to your chametz. By the way, your chametz is garbage. Thank you. Yeah, no, thank you. Yes, thank you. I'm liable for this chametz because the gzeirus hakosah by Rabbi Monsey. I'm liable, but ain't lo yesek klal. And b'meila, my statements in the middle of Pesach, even just being maskim, I'm just being maskim. That haskam is worthless. I have nothing to say in this chametz. Not even that I hate it. Not even that I agree with God.
It's not the liability.
So it doesn't take over the liability anymore.
No, but if you're masking...
If you're masking before this mana isser.
It does have a purpose. Later on, if you take over the liability...
But I can't take it off. That's the point. Once this mana isser comes, there's nothing I can do to take over the liability. Only one thing. Get rid of it. Physically get rid of it. That's why you have to do the Bitul before Pesach. So it's mine in terms of liability, but it's not mine in terms that any opinion has any value. It doesn't carry any weight. That's how you have to answer it, like this Rabbi David.
Yeah, it's like you already did Bitul on it.
And he says, "V'yesh l'chaleda shabitul hazeh eino inyan hefker." So he says clearly, people argue. A person wrote me a whole email yesterday. It's whole chiddush that guy. Everyone knows, of course, hefker. Look at his words. He's a Rishon. Habitul hazeh eino inyan hefker. Ha-hefker hu shemesalik reshusay mimenu kedei l'zakoisei la'acherim. Hefker is I relinquish my ownership so other people can have it if they want. V'habitul hu shemesalik daitoi mimenu sheyehei ka'ofer loy l'dash yisku bo'acherim. Hefker is I take away my reshus so other people can acquire it. Bitul is I take my das away from it, not my reshus. My interest, my das, for me it's worthless. Not that other people should acquire it. Fakir. If other people acquire it, it means, ooh, it's a nice thing. I'm being mafkir my safe, being mafkir my house. I'm not doing that. I'm being misalik my das. It's garnished, it's garbage. He says clearly it's not that vart. But, at last, I want you to see what the Sfas Emes has to say here. Sfas Emes is the last, du willst nehmen a Bild, kannst da reingucken. Rabbi Litzman, you have a copy? Also not. What happened to all the copies? Made a lot of comments. Okay, I'll read. Sfasemes here in the Gemarah Davavam at base. He teaches this is how Bitul works. He puts his own twist on it. Take a look. The reason it's in your rishus, the Rabbi David says it's like a gzeres hakosov. It's a biblical penalty. God says you're liable because you were a bad boy. You didn't do what you have to do. So I'm holding you liable even though it's not yours. So I understand. If it's really not yours, I don't care if you have an opinion. You have an opinion that the chametz is offer. You're masking with the Rebbeinu Shalom. You're shekayach. You don't have what the... Ein lo yeiseklal. Your opinions don't matter. Not positive, not negative. In Yiddish they say, Veda de gebeten, right? Who died and made you king? We did not ask you for your opinions. Why? Because you have no way to give an opinion. I'm going to give an opinion about how the Republic of the People's Republic of China should run. I mean, Jews do it all the day. They sit in the mikveh and they tell Trump how to run his shutdown, his government or wall. Yeshikoyach, we know how valuable those opinions are. They begin in the mikveh and they remain in the mikveh. So the same thing here. You have an opinion on the chametz. Yeshikoyach. Halacha doesn't acknowledge it. That's what Bitul is, an opinion. Before. Because then it's yours. You can have an opinion. This is mine. I can have an opinion. I'm going to have an opinion about your sweater. Your sweater belongs to you. It doesn't belong to you. It's disgusting. It's not disgusting. It's off. It's not off. Halacha doesn't take that into account. Fascinating idea. Sfasemes says azay. There's a svara here. The reason it's in your rishus is because you don't want it to be asur. You don't agree with God. You want chametz on Pesach. We're talking about if you didn't do Bitul, the vart is, you like similar to what the Balatanya wrote. You consider it. I consider it mine. You don't consider it mine. God doesn't, but I do. Basically, I don't agree. I don't want it to be asur. I'm a Jew. I don't believe in Pesach. I want the chametz. That's what makes you liable. It's not yours, but you want it to be yours. When you say, I agree, I also don't want to have it on Pesach. So the Torah never put it into your rishus. Basically, the Torah puts it into your rishus because you're holding on to it. You're going like this. You embraced it. God says it's not. You say yeah. Okay, yeah. Gesundheit. You want it? Keep it. You want it? Keep it. Fine. I'm trying to help you. You want it? Fine. The moment I say I don't want it, so the Torah never puts it back. The Torah never throws it back into your lap because you say I don't want it. Like we said before from Shulchan Aruch, don't call it by my name. I'm not interested in it. I don't want to hold on to it. I'm not interested. Fine. So we don't put it into your rishus. The whole reason we hold you liable for it is why? Because you want it. The moment you say you don't want it, God doesn't think it's yours. You don't think it's yours. You don't want it, so it's not yours. Great. If it's already asur, mashayich bitul. How could it be bitul? The masha'enoi choshev etzloi enoi klum. The fact that now it's not significant for him, it has no chashivas, is worthless. Kiven de beloiza asur. It's anyway forbidden. Ulekach enoi chashav etzloi. That's what makes it not chashav. It's not your opinion. Now it's already God's opinion. Aval koidim shigi is man isur. Kivan shadayin muterhu. V'hu mevatloi levada isur. Shaper nikra she skima daite ledas hatayra. Havart. When the chametz is still muter, you can agree. After the chametz is asur, your agreement is nothing. It's not a skima daito ledas hatayra. When chametz is a mitzias, it's a nice big thing, and God says, eat it and enjoy it. 10 o'clock in the morning, you could come and say, nah, garnished. And then the Bitul works. Hiskima daito ledas hatayra. Your das contributed something. Right now, Torah actually says it's mutter. And you come and say, I'm not interested in this chametz. So now you actually agreed. There's a you, and you agreed, and the agreement is valuable. Once you do it after the Zman Isser, he says there's no hiskima daito ledas hatayra. There's lechatchila, no other svara. Because there's lechatchila, no other svara. So it's not hiskima daito. In other words, once it becomes asur, the fact that I say it's not chashiv doesn't mean anything. You know why? Genius! Of course it's not chashuv, it's also. The whole world screams that it's not chashuv. Reality screams it's not chashuv. Shulchan Aruch screams it's not chashuv. Torah screams it's not chashuv. Hashem screams it's not chashuv. You also say it's not chashuv. It's not his schema dai toy l'das Torah. Huh? So B'meila you're liable for it. So you're liable for it because you're holding on to it. Now you say that it's Bitul. That input doesn't have significance. Why doesn't it have significance? Because what the Sfas Emes is saying, you need that there should be a daitoy. Now you say, I'm not interested in this chametz. Of course, it's asur. To put it in other words. Bitul means I have to say that this is garbage. Okay? Now let me ask you a question. And it's a chiddush. And by me saying it, I remove that relationship. Now let me ask you a question. Let's say there's something that's taka piece of garbage. It's not chametz, it's offer. And somebody says, by the way, this is offer. Of course. The whole world says it's offer. That's not called bitul, he says. Bitul means you have a metzias that you're mevatel. You have a metzias that has a chshivas, and you're mechadish something. You're saying this thing that has a chshivas, has a metzias, by me it's bitul. He says once Pesach comes, it's taka bitul. There's no other havam in there. There's no other havam in it. Doesn't mean anything. It's not his schema daitay l'das atayr.
Now you need to get that akusa that even it's bitul, you're still reliable for it.
So mainly you're still liable for it. Why are you liable for it? Because since you wanted it, and now you can't get rid of your desire of it. Because the Torah already made it asur, so there's no chshivas to your das. So b'meila it doesn't work, so the bitul doesn't work. That's how he understands.
Of the new comments during the Pesach.
You can't.
You said Pesach.
You can't. You can't. Only if it's dough, if it didn't become chametz. If it's gonna become chametz, it could be a mavatal. You're right. If it's dough and it's gonna become chametz in 10 minutes, right now the Rebbeinu Shalom says, it's good, it's wonderful, it's mutter, it's fine. You come and say, nah. Hast du Pesuf getan? You accomplish something. He's schema dai toy l'das atayra. But in 20 minutes from now, when it's really chametz, the Torah says it's garbage. You're saying it's garbage doesn't add anything to God.
But it's after Zman.
You know the teacher who told Rothschild, if I get your money, I'm going to be richer than you. Because I'm not going to quit teaching. Verstehst? He comes to God, by the way. You have my haskama. The chametz is asur. Thank you. You understand? You come to God and you say, I'm asking. The Sfas Emes says that's not called a haskama. Habreda hastu. This is reality. Before Pesach, you say, I'm asking. Since I know Pesach is coming, and I don't want to have a shaykhis to it, so therefore I'm saying now it's not chashuv. That's how the Sfas Emes learns.
But it has to be
Before this man, yeah.
in the Pesach, I still don't understand how we can say.
No, you can't. You. I'll put it this way: once the chametz, once Pesach comes, the fact that the chametz is not chashuv by you is not because of your bitul; it's because of bitul haTorah. It's because Hashem said, "My bitul is my level." Of course, it's not chashuv. What does he say? He says, "The mashein chashuv etzli ain't klum. Even the beloiza also lekachin chashuv etzli." It's not because my bitul. The way bitul works is that it's my bitul. That I said I don't want it. After Pesach, it's not my bitul. The fact that it's not chashuv by me is because Torah says it's bitul, and I'm part of Torah. Ayid is part of Torah. Of course it's bitul. It's not my bitul. Before this man is, sir, why is it not chashuv? Mitzad my bitul. So therefore, my bitul can help to relinquish my relationship with it. If you want Chassidish terminology, to be bitul, you need a yesh. The yesh could be bottle. It's an interesting word with Vasemes. Ayin can't be bottle. Your shekayach. Your whole aim with Siyas is Bitul. After Pesach, you mavatul chametz. Psahava and otherwise. The whole world screams that there's no chametz on Pesach. It's usher, it's garbage. So you now came and said, Ich hab entdeckt America. Chametz, that's nothing. Before Pesach, chametz is a yesh. Chametz is a yesh. It could be a mavatul. Same thing. If it's created during Pesach, it's created as an ayin. You're going to be mavatul on ayin. If it's chametz on Pesach, it's an ayin. If it's a dough before it's chametz, now it's a yesh. Now you can be a mavatul. Bitul a yesh.
It's a union of yeshes.
I'm using that terminology. Before the zman, it's a yesh. Kennst this mavatul zay? After the zman, it's already ayin. What are you going to be mavatul ayin?
Doesn't have the value goes down. It's not value.
You're being mavatul something that's bottle. You're beating a dead horse. Yishkoyach. I don't need you to beat a dead horse. Dead. It's dead.
According to that,
He says when the Ramban says his schema daitoi l'das ha'toyre, his das has to have a chivas. You understand? It's Pesach. He's adding something to Torah. Torah says it's a yesh. He says it's bottle.
So according to that, then a person would have to do bitul. They can just let it happen.
No, because that's the whole word. It is bottle. But the word is, in your mind, it's not bottle. So in your mind, it has to be bottle. After Pesach, it's not bottle in your mind anymore. Your mind is part of Torah. Before Pesach, in your mind, it's bottle.
So you better do the bitul on the right time.
Yeah, that's what the Svasem is like.
It's always the opposite of what we discussed. I asked, how can you do Bitul when you have, if it's not chumetz yet, it's going to be chumetz. How can you do Bitul? It's agreeing to God when you have, when God says that it's yours. Now it's that you have to say it when you have a. The opposite.
You asked how could you do Bitul before the Zman.
Yeah.
According to him, that's the whole gather of Bitul.
Yeah.
That's the whole gather of Bitul. You're right. Verstanden?
Yeah, steuert, exercising my brain.
Geschmack ist Sugis, ah? Da bin David is bestaan meer pshat. Ein loy esig by club.
I love the Rosh Yosef. Admitted reality.
Lo yira lecha.
That's my alley.
This Vasemes. I think Pshat Ben David, like Ben David, but the Svasemes, this L'cheretuna Kudus in the Svasemes. Simon had the Hefza and Simon had the Gavra. In other words, you could be mevatel something that exists. On Pesach, the chametz is ayin shenish ken yesh. You can't. You're being mevatel something that's bottle. You're not moisef anything. Your bitul is meaningless. It's already ayin. It's nothing. It's worthless. It's meaningless. The Eibishter says it's worthless. God says it's ayin v'efes mamish. It's offer mamish. So you're being moisef. You're being mevatel something that's already bottle. Your bitul zagarnish. Bitul is not shaykh. There's nothing to be mevatel. There's an expression. Bitul kenish bottle werden. Yeah, it's different. A dover bottle kenish bottle werden. It's already bottle. So how could you do bitul on Pesach? Your bitul tut garnished off. So a mela, since asoy hakosav kiluhu b'yeshusay, your bitul can't be mafkiya that because your bitul, there's no hefza to be mevatel. There's nothing to be mevatel. What are you being mevatel? You're being mevatel something that's bottle. In Lashon Hachsidus, a yesh you could be mevatel. An ayin you can't be mevatel. There's no chilois bitul on it. So your bitul is not doing anything. And then there's the word mitzad gavrim, mitzad the person. Yeah, what's the whole word here? The chametz is bottle. Chametz is not yours on Pesach. Chametz is bottle. It is offer. So there's no chiyuv, there's no chametz, it's offer. There's nothing to be mechai of you. It's mushbus. Hashem says there's no achila, there's no hana, it's worthless. Elamai, asoy hakosav kilu hu b'yeshusay. Why I saw a kosav kilu b'yeshusay? Right? Because he wants it. He wants it. That's the word. Yeah, like the Ramban says, Roitze b'kiyumai. As the Sfas Emes says, Mashasoi b'rishusai ha'irag ba'avur, she'ein das ha'adam she'yeh aser v'lo yeh b'rishusai. The whole reason Asai b'rishusai is because in my das, I don't want that it should be aser, and it shouldn't be b'rishusai. Roitze b'kiyumai, I want it. But Mela, when he's mevatel and he says, Gam daitoi hu shelo yeh nechshav l'klum, when a person says, in my mind also, it's aser, I don't want it in my rishus, it has no chshivas, I don't want it to exist, I don't want it to be connected to me, so lo yichnis yakasav l'rishus. So Mela, the Torah doesn't put into your rishus. Because your das is also that it shouldn't be b'rishusai. So chametz be'etzem is bottle. It's be'etzem mushbus. It's nothing. So why should you be even by your rabbi yamati? It's not yours. There's nothing to be yours. The answer is because we want that in your mind it should be bottle. In your mind it should be worthless. It should be meaningless. Sagt the Sfas Emes. After Pesach that can't happen. In your mind it's not bottle. Your mind becomes a chelik of Torah. Before Pesach, there's a Pesach. I say it's worthless. I say it's meaningless. After Pesach, yeah, of course. Imagine something is a Pesach chashav and metzias, and then it gets destroyed. When it gets destroyed, in my mind it's not a metzias. In everybody's mind it's not a metzias. My mind has no breda. There's nothing here. It's gone. Yesterday, when it was a metzias, you could say, in my mind it's not a metzias, and that's a chiddush. And that's what makes the Bitul work. Again, be'etzem the chametz is bottle, you shouldn't be over. The only reason you're over is because your das has an independent reality. So if in your das, the chametz is bottle, so b'meile, there's no chiyuv on this chametz. So we say, after Pesach, in your mind it's not bottle. There's no hiskima daiti l'das ha'Torah. Everybody says it's bottled. The Metzia says it's bottled, but maybe your mind says it's bottled. It's not a Pesach Chiddush of you. You have no breda. Before Pesach, you have a breda. It's a yesh. Hiskima daitoi. So this is an uftu of your mind. My Metzia is saying something. After Pesach, my Metzia is maskim. Well, there's no other way of defining the chametz. Of course I say it's nothing. It's taka nothing. It's taka nothing. It's not my das. That's the mahalach of the Sfas Emes. No, Rabbeinu David is bepashtas pshat. That ein lo esek, but you have no shaykhs to it. That's bepashtas pshat. Yeah. Sfas Emes says this mahalach. Yeah, he says it here in the Gemarah.
This class is brought to you by the yeshiva.net. Please help us continue the classes. Make even a small contribution at www.theyeshiva.net/donate.